feel like we don't talk too much about the differences in meta based on like location and region. So it is interesting. They are a lot more leaning to like French, and we'll probably see that in the drafts today too. That they'll probably both prioritize those. They're really good with those aggressive civs, and it's kind of interesting how the meta could be different and how it could still be effective. I'm often a big fan of just thinking like, there's probably builds out there that we haven't seen yet that would probably still work. Just takes some really different mindsets almost to find those. But with these two guys coming in, it should be a fun series. As it looks like we're getting a live look at the draft right now. Look, obviously, no surprise about HRE and Roos.
Yeah, but we're getting a Mongols ban actually up against CSO, and dude, I'm surprised. Like, we've seen Mongols time and time again recently be utilized more often now that players have kind of started realizing that, oh wait, Mongol Imperial Age actually not that bad if you go up with the Khaganate Palace. And yeah, more and more people are starting to really respect that kind of Mongol play with like early pressure. Like, it used to be the case that Mongols kind of fall off hard the later the game goes, but with the Khaganate and with players like figuring out, wait, Mangadai actually kind of a good unit now. It's been starting to look really, really fearful, like in the later stages of the game as well.
Yeah, it's interesting how some units come and go in the meta, right? Like something that seems to work just fine a while ago stops working, and then on a map like Frisian Marshes, especially with how much food there is away from the town center, like that unit can be kind of devastating late in the game now. I'm not terribly surprised to see that one banned.
If you find yourself in a situation where you don't have walls past Castle Age up against Mongols, you're in for a pretty bad time. But we can kind of like see the theme of our players' like preferences here, just looking at the draft now. So CSO, he's more like, I want to say like a very aggressive kind of player overall, and we can see that reflected in the Civ brand. We got French, we got Jean, we got Zushi. CSO also plays House of Lancaster in a very aggressive style. Then Louis, he can kind of more often be like an economy or macro focus player. Something that I always like think about whenever I see Louis. Like, this dude has a build order, like a macro game plan for every civilization, for like pretty much every scenario. And it's kind of wild because you think, okay, I'm going to try something weird against him, and he reacts perfectly every single time. Like, the dude's a macro machine when it comes to that. And kind of reflected in the Civ draft, we get China, Byzantines, Delhi. Ottomans is a very special pick, I want to say, for Louis and CSO both. They both make excellent usage of it. And then you get Abbasid as well. Abbasid, I guess, like when we're playing like these longer drafts, like best of sevens, then, you got to pick him at some point, I guess. They're not the most favorable civilization at the moment, but they can still be very, very strong.
Yeah, I went through the redraft after 4 games. I feel like you see Abbasid kind of as like the last pick, and I don't think I've seen a single Abbasid game. It just doesn't get picked. Usually the redraft comes in. It's kind of been the usual suspects though, right? China, Zushi, Byzantines, Delhi. A lot of Ottomans been popping up. I feel like we see that a lot on, well, I don't see it here, but Enlightened Horizon. Is that the name of that map?
Yeah, Enlightened Horizon. That's
we've seen that a lot.
Yeah, they're very good there, just in general, having just good production early on in Dark Age. Then loueMT, we also got the Knights Templar. So both new civilizations are making their way through here. Neither player has opted to banning them. Also seeing Abbasid and Order of the Dragons here as well. This is kind of the thing with these like ex-team game mainly players as well. When you see Ayyubids come in for CSO, you know it's going to be Desert Raiders. You know there's going to be a ton of Desert Raiders, no two ways around it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're such a good unit, so versatile. My question is it going to get picked? I just feel like we don't see, it's so late in the draft. I feel like those first couple ones.
Looking at Frisian Marshes at the moment, like there's something to say about Abbasid on Frisian Marshes with trade. Just camel traders.
That's true. Those things are
they can fool you. Yeah, they can really fool you. Like, camel traders, you think, okay, you look at the resources that are coming in, and you're like, okay, that's not a lot, no big deal, I can just ignore those. But then, then they just start scaling up. They cost very little. They're super fast. You can get upgrades from the Abbasid to buff them up as well. Something that's actually kind of absurd. I just want to mention this here now at this point in time. You look at horsemen, they do like 9 base damage in Feudal Age. So I'm just going to disregard other units because these traders are very quick and no other unit other than horsemen can really catch them. But they also give a camel on E, so that's -2 damage for the horseman. But then in Feudal Age, if you go up with the trade ring, you can also increase their armor by 3, give them an additional armor through the blacksmith, and all of a sudden horsemen do 2 damage per hit. And they just cannot kill any of these traders. It can be kind of insane. Like that. That's just a situation that I found myself in once. I was like, wait, what do I do? What do I do? I can't kill these traders.
Details like that. I love the details like that where like those things get camel and ease. It's kind of why I really love. I mean, Ayyubid is my favorite civ. I think of the game. Just it's what I play the most, and I really love that even the dervishes get that camel and ease. People will discount that a lot. And then with the traders, yeah, they just get so hard to kill.
Yeah, but it's not going to be any trading bonanza here early on, as we do see the civilizations that have been picked here. We're going to be seeing China come in for Louis up against the Order of the Dragon from CSO. So we got like a kind of like boomy civilization here that can also be like as a timing push, maybe in Castle Age if you go for like a fast castle with China against Order of the Dragon, which I think can be very versatile in how it's played overall. It can be very frightening if you go for like a death push, because sometimes China can find themselves in a situation where if they don't play for like mass infantry, they might find themselves in a situation where knights have been cleaned out, they don't have any more units, they're up in front of a transition. Farm transition is very expensive, but very effective. I think Order of the Dragon, just in general, on a map like this, where their villagers are like so efficient with region marshes, with like the shoreline fish, the deer, and everything like that, it can be a pretty good matchup for Order of the Dragon overall. But China is still China
looking at this
at
matchup,
the end of the day.
I was actually expecting CSO to pick Zushi to start things off with this one. I feel like we've seen a lot of China versus Zushi matchups, and usually they pull them right out. I was kind of expecting to go with that one. To see Order of the Dragon, his last pick in the draft, I'm actually a little bit surprised. I'm kind of also very excited because that's not a civ we've seen a lot of in this tournament. So getting that pick brought up here should make for a fun game. And like you said, there's some timings that could really work for Order of the Dragon. Of course, China, if it goes too late, it's gonna, I think, just skew towards their economy massively. But especially in the early game, I think there's quite a window for Order of the Dragon to do some damage. As we take a look at the head-to-head here, all time. Love these graphics. Shout out to the production team for setting this stuff up. Cow Vodka and all the guys behind the scenes making this happen. But it looks like we got a 4-3, 57% win rate to Louis. That's 10-7 in the games. Pretty even players as far as their past history.
Yeah, pretty even, 100%. And I mean, CSO, he's also taken sets off Louis, so it's not like this is going to be like a completely like pre-definitive set where we already know who's going to win. No, these guys are very even. And I want to say, like, even before CSO started breaking into the 1v1 scene more and more, like, even before that, like back in 2022, he's taken sets off of Louis. In 2023, he's taken sets off of Louis. They've had like some matches in like some regional Asian tournaments as well, where they met up against each other before. And CSO, like it's just weird. Like the performance graph from CSO, when you look at him, is like sometimes he wins a lot of games against the most impressive players that you can think of. Then in other sets, he like really underperforms from time to time. The performance just all over the place, but that just makes it all the more exciting to see.
Yeah, I just remember looking at the same image against CSO versus B last weekend, and it was like all-time B had just swept the floor with him, and then CSO obviously went the distance and took that series. And so now I'm looking at this going, it's a head-to-head in the past. It's a coin flip in my mind as to who takes it today. Because of CSO, he's been on the rise, I feel like, as a player, and has been very, very good this tournament especially. So how he plays against Louis, who's been good for a while as well, I would not be surprised if this series went a full 7.
Yeah, it might very well be like full 7 games here. I wouldn't be too surprised. Also, I want to like look at the draft here, because something interesting to keep in mind, like loueMT, China, that's his first pick. Meanwhile, Order of the Dragon for CSO, that's like his last pick. So something to take into account here is we've seen China versus Zushi, as you mentioned earlier, quite a lot at the moment. And so far, more often than not, it's been China favored, which is interesting because, like, at the beginning when Zushi came out, I personally thought of it as, like, a really good civilization to use up against China. But then the Pro Scout meta came in, and the timing window for Zushi to, like, do damage to China got closer and closer, slimmer and slimmer. And nowadays, I feel like China versus Zushi is pretty even.
Yeah, it feels like it can go either way, and there's just some slight differences make it really interesting. I've been calling it like the pseudo mirror match because they perform so similarly, but they have just such sharp differences where it matters as well. But again, I'm really surprised that we're not getting China Zushi to start this off on Frisian Marshes. I feel like both those civs do very well on this map. So I'm wondering if CSO is trying to maybe counter draft, because we don't talk a lot about like the drafting skill of players and how they kind of develop what their plan drafting is. We look so much just at the games themselves, but I wonder if CSO, pulling Order of the Dragon out of his back pocket here, trying to maybe throw Louis off guard a little bit and then maybe save that Zushi pick for a later game when he thinks he can get more value out of it. Because yeah, lately, China has been beating Zushi head to head more and more. So maybe he kind of was leaning that way and then said, we can maybe do something a little different here.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just like these little brain games as well. Like somebody's trying to fake out a pick, and all these kind of like little decisions, they can add up, and it's like trading out a civilization. Maybe CSO isn't too confident in Zushi versus China, so he picks out of the dragon, gets maybe a win in, and then if he gets a win in up against China, he defeats like one of the better civilization from Louis with a civilization that he might not have really had too high of expectations for himself with.
Yeah, definitely. I want to point out too, looking at the draft here, I think it's interesting because the Civ is kind of flip-flop between, is it really good? Is it not really good? Interesting that both players banned Japanese. So the first three bans are just identical.
One.
And
like Japanese banned without any hybrid maps as well.
Yeah. What a world we live in, right? Like it's fun how the meta shifts and how both these players don't want to deal with it. So really our bans, the first three are the exact same: HRE, Rus, and Japanese. Very, very fascinating to me that they both would opt to not pick Japanese. But we've seen Japanese have some success in this tournament so far. I mean, CSO himself had that incredible play with the Onobugeisha to win, I think, his sixth game against game number 6 against B last weekend. And so maybe Louis, maybe they both just don't want to deal with it because they can do a lot of fun things with Japanese. But it's interesting that the same couple civs keep getting banned again and again and again. And of course, Mongol and Mongols being opted not to go against as well, I think makes sense given both those civs can, like you mentioned with Mongols, can be pretty good now in the late game.
Yeah, I kind of got a feeling as to why both of them banned Japanese, because I matched up against CSO and Louis. Like, I haven't played in quite a while, but like 3-4 weeks ago, I've matched up against them like 4 or 5 times in one day on ladder against each of them. And every time they play Japanese, and it's kind of brutal at the moment. Like Japanese, they can like get up this big death ball of units of like Onobugeisha, Mounted Samurai, these premium units with the deflective armor, and just never underestimate Onobugeisha and Mounted Samurai as a combination, because the Onobugeisha deal perfectly with the counters against the Mounted Samurai, and Mounted Samurai just shred everything else there is. And it's a really, really strong army composition. It's very mobile as well. Like, it is the perfect army composition, I want to say, for raids.
Well, it pops up really quickly too. They can really, put the Yoroshido in those buildings and just crank the units out if they need to as well. So it really can feel just like out of nowhere. They've got a huge mass. I mean, those Onobugeisha, they're just so quick and fleety. But it is time to just get ready to dive into game number 1. It'll be just a minute or so. As production's telling us they're getting ready right as we speak. I think the players are hopping in game. What do you expect out of Order of the Dragon to do here on Frisian Marshes, Crackety?
That's the interesting thing. I think Order of the Dragon, they could do a little bit of Dark Age aggression as well. Get like a spearman or 2 out just to harass a little bit on the gold, especially since China has started more often opting for no AO opening. Like doing some damage with the spearman can kind of like make China struggle a little bit when it comes to their gold gathering. And yeah, but now it's time to jump right into it as we're going into our first game of the weekend. Welcome everybody to a best of 7. loueMT playing in the color pink here as the Chinese up against CSO playing the Order of the Dragon in the color green here on Frisian Marshes.
One thing to remember about this map too is that there's just so much food to be had. So not only are there more sheep, there's all that fish, all those deer. It'll be fun to see, as you see already right off the way. CSO gathering what he can.
Ton of sheep there. Oh man, we gotta do a sheep counter here later on as well. Just taking a look at all the sheep that have been get up. Ooh. There we go. Back again. All right, hopefully should be good again.
Well, we've got the, well, hopefully we'll have a sheep counter ready. Obviously, we don't expect to see any cows coming up anytime soon this game. Looks like there's not going to be any Dark Age barracks right off the bat from CSO. Kind of wondering if we would get some Dark Age aggression. Looks like maybe not.
Oh, he's moving out to stone. Looks like we're potentially up for like a 2 TC out of the Dragon game here.
An interesting choice. Do you think he's just trying to match the eco of, then I guess just match the eco of what China wants to do? That kind of almost seeds, that could possibly just seed like a pro scouts play to Louis if he so desired.
I mean, there is a pretty good spot for a second TC. You see, like the deer camp next to the shoreline fish, and maybe we can get rid of the cow and the Nan overlay there with the sheep there. But Ages are coming in now. We get the Archon Chapel in for CSO. Over on the other side, we are getting the Imperial Academy in for Louis. No Imperial official opening here for him, so that's going to be his way of scaling his economy early on there, getting the 4 Imperial officials out at a discount from that landmark.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to see that there's a couple different ways you can go about Dark Ages China. I mean, we see obviously there's the quick drop off, the quick IO with the drop off of the mill with the wood to get the village. This obviously saving some money on the actual IOs. I'm really curious, like, how a 2TC play from CSO would work with that stone and how that would scale against Chinese.
Overall,
like, do you like the
like
choice? Do you like the choice?
Out of the Dragon, they can scale really, really well with the second TC. And the issue here that I see is that Louis might be going for like a fast castle approach with China, just from the looks of it overall right now. He's moving out to wood now as well. Maybe pro scout, but pro scout, it's kind of weird. Like on this map, you don't really need to pro scout that much.
Mm-hmm. There's just so much food already.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of sheep. There's a ton of food out on the map. You can go for it, but you don't really feel like the need to. Maybe you can still like rob away the deer from your opponent, and obviously Out of the Dragon with the Archon Chapel, there's always that incentive to go for pro scouts here, just to have them in the influence of the Archon Chapel. And yeah, we still got the cow interface there. We're working on getting rid of that. In the meantime, yeah, Louis, he's got a good amount of sheep overall. Can we take a quick look and just overall compare the amount of sheep found total so far between the players?
Now with
So we got
looks like
7 carcasses.
Right,
yeah, 7 carcasses, 12 live sheep at the moment for Louis. And then CSO on the other side, we're going to be looking at not quite as many, 8 sheep carcasses, 9 live sheep. So Louis overall has got more out, and now we see the second TC coming in for CSO on the gold. So prioritizes the safety of the gold there, having a defensive building there, economic scaling inside of the base. Isn't going to move out on the map with that second TC.
playing a little bit more safe there, securing that gold and the berries. I think it's kind of smart. I mean, with War of the Dragon, those units can be so difficult to deal with, and they can get those men-at-arms out. You got to be kind of mindful where you put that. Out saying hello to each other here, right in between that little stealth force that separates the two civilizations.
Go, cows gotten rid of.
Cows have left. No cows in this game, unfortunately. I know cow in production is very sad about that, but no cows this game. What do you think about
CSO? It looks like CSO is just going to try and catch up to the fast castle age now that Louis is also going for. The difference in timing could be a little bit difficult for CSO, though, as we do see he's struggling when it comes to getting up in the age. Louis, he's more than halfway there. CSO, he's going to start scaling a lot quicker now.
Yeah, I'm. It's very interesting. I'm trying to wrap my mind around whether I like this UTC build or not. I was kind of wondering if he would go for the mine work to start things out, but he ended up going obviously for the Aachen Chapel and going for the eco instead. So I'm really curious to see how this will play out long term, because Louis, like you're saying, he's going to be up in castle and clicking up here in just a second.
And
there's
like a timing window, 6 to 7 minutes, I want to say, for that second TC to really start paying off. and really start scaling. So if CSO can manage to come out unharmed for the next 6 to 7 minutes, then I think he's going to be in a fine spot. The question is if Louis is going to give him that kind of time, because now he's aging up. Astronomical clock tower is coming in very, very quickly. We're looking at like a sub 7 or like close to 7-ish minute age up time now from him. He's pulling some villagers off the clock tower. Yeah, and there we go. Stable's already prepped, villagers going up to gold, and yeah, we're just probably looking at a mass knight play here early on. Do some damage, secure relics behind it. I think that's gonna be the main game plan here from Louis early on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how CSO defends this knight play. The Lancers in your base is never fun. And what that's going to do as well is it's going to let Louis take control of the map and those resources in the north for him. He's going to be able to move out and get all those fish, all the deer. He's going to have a lot of mobility. And it's going to also hinder CSO's ability. As we see the Burgrave coming down, I'm curious if he'll start spamming out some spears. I wonder if you've seen that stable or not yet. I guess, yeah, he also just pop out.
He must also just know that it's coming, right? Like, this is a fast castle age. It just makes sense for there to be knights. Louis looks like he's prioritizing actually supervision on the monastery as well. So knights and the monk are coming out at exactly the same time for him. Question is what he's going to start supervising next. It's going to be the monastery again. Yeah, he's just going to go for a second monk immediately. So he's putting his focus on the monastery right now. Only a single knight, so I don't think he's going to be able to do too much damage with it. This buys CSO like a great window of opportunity here. Just with his own age up, now able to spam out spears. If Louis isn't able to get like, I want to say 4 to 5 relics and then find a way of scaling his economy after that, CSO is going to be in a great spot in this game.
Yeah, if he can just survive the initial push. I mean, his units are just so tanky and so difficult to deal with. We do see the first Lancer looking for somewhere to come. Trying to find a spot to poke and prod. We do see some economic upgrades coming in for CSO now. The first one of the game, actually. It's going to be Wheelbarrow in at 8 minutes.
Makes a lot of sense right now. Just, you have a lot of villagers. Economic upgrades are going to scale a lot better for you now at the moment. But there we go. Like, Louis, he's immediately going for the relic over on CSO's side. And this is what I was talking about. It is so important that when you're a TC behind and you win for that fast castle age, if you're not able to immediately kill your opponent, you got to take all the relics they can get. And Louis, he went up to 4 monks now. He's vacuuming up the relics on the map.
I love this play because it's going to kind of stunt that 2TC play from CSO. Like you mentioned, he's going to get that long-term gold income. Gold's just not going to be an issue for Louis the longer this game goes. That could be a point to keep an eye on because there's not a lot of great extra gold mines available for CSO. Everything's kind of far away. So if that first gold vein runs out for him, Louis is going to be fine, but CSO is going to have to be mindful of where he's getting that income.
Yeah, and 3 relics already making their way back home to Louis. He's also getting the Barbican up at a great spot. We're seeing a couple of spearmen from CSO walking in that direction, but the Barbican is going to be coming up first, and that means the relics are going to be secured behind that. There we go. Yeah, Barbican comes up. CSO sees that, is not able to deny any of the 3 relics that were kind of positioned on his side of the map. And now Louis, also in Song Dynasty, able to start scaling his economy. We've seen villagers moving out to stone. This could be a second TC coming up behind this for Louis, with which he will be in a great spot. 5 relics potentially, a second TC with Song Dynasty. He's going to scale great here in this game. So CSO is kind of like the relics, his point in time now to like do some damage, like make something happen.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get online soon. We do have a couple spears on the play, and now it's going to be a Palace Guard switch to Louis. He's going to start moving into those quickly as we see CSO trying to wall in some resources, trying to get into the wall as Louis is trying to wall in some resources, getting that last relic.
Attack move with the gate and the wolf. The wolf's actually blocking village.
Oh, no.
Hello, get out.
Wolf
now
was a
the
sleeper agent for Louis.
Are moving in. Yeah, we're just getting a lot of Palace Guards right now. CSO responding with some Gilded Crossbowmen. Those are going to do an excellent job up against them when it comes to the damage. Louis also adding an additional scout. I'm wondering, is Louis going for professional scouts now behind this, or is this just going to be a play in order to get some vision on the map? We're also seeing some Springles coming out from the clock tower. So now Louis is also starting to scale a little bit into his own siege, start to prepare for that second town center of his. CSO, his economy is scaling great. He's now up 6 villagers, but those are also gilded villagers.
Almost more like
so his economy should be... Yeah, his economy should be looking very, very solid. He's also doing a farm transition behind this now. So it might be a window for him to still do some stuff, but it's going to be tough up against 5 relics here from Louis now.
Yeah, we're talking about like a window, but it feels like that window is getting closed slowly. The longer this game goes on, the more I'm liking it for Louis, especially once he gets that second town center going. He's going to have all the relics. The only thing that's really left for CSO is to maybe go take those sacred sites and to maybe exert some map control. But he's kind of just, walking around his base trying to deal with these palace guards. I feel like I kind of wish he was doing some damage here or doing something to really get himself ahead. Because that second town center is not going to do enough long term.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because Louis did such a great job with the Barbican there in front of his base. He's starting to wall towards that Barbican, and we know Louis loves his walls, so those coming out now, we see all these little wall segments connecting those wood lines. He's going to be pretty much fully walled in a little bit, which will make raiding very hard for CSO, especially with slow-moving infantry. Like, Louis will always be there in time. Once the units break through, the reinforcements from Louis, or rather his main army, is going to be there in time to protect.
Yeah, his income right now, Louis is just raking in the resources. I mean, he's getting the sacred sites now as well. I don't know if he'll hold those very long, but every little bit of extra gold he gets is just going to be adding on top of the lead that he's going to start building.
Mm-hmm. We don't have a second TC yet from Louis. He could work towards it soon. He does have the resource for it now, and there we go. Second TC just came in inside of his base.
Nice engagement there. Palace Guards trying to wrap up the gilded crossbows and gilded men-at-arms. Those guys are tanky, so he's going to drop quite a couple Palace Guards doing it. Crossbow, yeah, he's going to need to remicro onto the crossbow, and he does. That should go down pretty quickly. Then make it a little bit easier for him to clean up the rest of what's there. Then he goes for the scout. Interesting.
Arm's still very tanky, though.
Yeah, now at that point, those gilded men-at-arms are kind of just enough. Now, this is one thing that Louis can start doing, though, is he can start going a little bit wider than Order of the Dragon can. That's just kind of the tricky thing with Order of the Dragon is they're not population efficient as far as their eco goes, but they can only make so many units. They can only be in so many places, whereas Louis can spread out a little wider and force CSO to kind of try and stretch a little too thin, because with only one or two men-at-arms aren't too bad. It's when Order of the Dragon gets in that big death ball clump that they get really difficult to deal with. So if Louis can just kind of spreading wide.
We might reach that sooner rather than later, because CSO, he did go for the Burgrave Palace, so his units, they come out quite a bit cheaper, means he can afford getting a lot more of them out there. At the same time, like, Louis, there's a window of opportunity here for him.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have a single farm for Louis, but he's got a lot of gold. I'm thinking right now, maybe he's flirting with, like, an Imperial Age, get that Great Wall Gatehouse in to secure a spot on the map to, like, have a safe farm transition. I like this play here from Louis as well. He's got the wheelbarrow in, so it's not the most inefficient thing, and he's boosting a single mill there with the Imperial Official, so all of those shoreline fish are getting boosted up here. Even if the villagers have to walk a little bit more, he is still getting the fully boosted amount there.
Yeah, and with the wheelbarrow, that's kind of a negligible walk distance. We just say it's good for their heart health, you know?
Little bit of cardio, never hurt anyone.
Palace Guards coming in to take a stab at CSO's base. Yeah, that's quite a good mass. Both these players have quite a military mass going, and I mean, lots of heavy units. I mean, 22 Palace Guards is nothing to sneeze at. At the same time, neither is 11 gilded men-at-arms.
Up to 6 Springles at the moment behind all of this for Louis, and CSO so far has only been making infantry. Granted, gilded crossbows are actually pretty decent at taking down Springles. The issue is getting there, getting in range of the Springles, as Springles do have a lot more attack range. And now we're seeing Nest of Beasts as well, so Louis, he's going for steady, slow siege composition here to defend his base, as he's starting to, well, slowly but surely overtake CSO in economy. We can never forget that there are also still those relics working in the back. We got the 2 sacred sites, so that's like 600 gold per minute just passively income for Louis. On top of that, we got the taxes as well. He's looking pretty solid right now. The main issue is still for him that he has not put down a single farm yet.
Yeah, when the food runs out, that's when the metal's going to meet the metal. Yeah, that transition's going to be the window for CSO to do a lot of damage, because right now, militarily, he's outnumbering what Louis has, so there is there's a danger, because if Order Dragon can wipe out what Louis has and get inside the base, it can be unstoppable. You could look as good as you want, but if you don't have any way to stop that death ball of Order Dragon units, the game could be over. It's just a matter of can CSO land that killing blow with the window he's given.
CSO, he's gonna start needing at least a couple of horsemen. Right now, Louis, he's only been going into these palace guards, hasn't made a single spearman yet. And I feel like CSO, he kind of needs some ability. He kind of needs the ability to start raiding, because Louis, he's out on the map. He's gathering resources from unprotected spots on the map. The only reason why CSO can't raid that is because of the walls, but once he gets through them, like, just get a couple of horsemen in, you kind of pull the army from Louis apart, and you get a lot of value that way.
And he made some archers instead. Archers and some gilded crossbows. I like the gilded crossbows. The archers, I'm curious as to the thought process behind that. Maybe he just didn't have enough gold to produce and just decided to make something instead.
Archers just in general aren't that bad up against palace guards. And also, if CSO were to, like, if Louis were to add in some spearmen, the archers just do a lot more DPS up against them than the gilded crossbows would do. Lots of overkill there as well. Some good siege shots there from Louis. And this is still mainly infantry. And there we go, Great Wall Gatehouse before the first farm has even been built. We're seeing Imperial Age coming out for Louis, but CSO, like, his economy right now is looking really good. And more importantly, it's sustainable.
Yeah. It really is, and that's going to matter here in a second. In fact, there's still deer, there's still some fish. He's actually got a good amount of time to make the transition still into farms. He just needs to hold for the next minute or two here. We see that wall going down. There is a breach. Can CSO get in there and do enough? If he were to catch us out right now, he could do a lot of damage, but obviously a lot of siege as well. See, nice
there
little
we
pick up
go.
here from Louis.
Stables coming up here.
Yeah.
We are finally seeing those stables coming in from CSO, but Louis does spot them out with his palace guards here, so he knows that something along these lines is going to be coming in here, a transition into cavalry. So he now has the window of opportunity to go for his own spearmen. Age up does come through.
Meanwhile, back at home, CSO is pushing into the base a little bit on the north side. Torch down a village. He's going to walk right into that
Siege
gatehouse.
Is there. Yeah, Great Wall Gatehouse is going to be there, and look at that, Louis, with the siege play, immediately starts researching the additional barrels for the nest of bees. So once that comes in, his nest of bees, they're going to be doing a lot more damage. I think it's like they reduce it to like 5 or 4 shots initially. So getting 3 additional shots out from your nest of bee, that's a big increase in damage.
I love the choice to go Tithe Barns as well. He's got those 5 relics. Getting that as soon as he can, he's going to get a lot of dividends. Now, it's only not even 19 minutes into the game, and Louis is Imperial Age, so the longer this game goes, those relics are going to just pay such large dividends for him.
Yeah. CSO now aging up with the Elsbach Palace. Okay. Puts it in the middle of the map next to one of the large gold veins. Next to the Sacred Site as well.
Well, what did I mention too at the beginning, right?
Like 2 TC?
He needs gold. I mentioned at the beginning that gold is going to be an issue for him because he doesn't have any good access to it. And so I like this play to drop it right on the big AK. That's going to let him keep in this game for a little while.
The Palace Guard raid here. CSO's army's a little bit out of position. And yeah, Louis, he's going to make full use of that. He's going for the farms.
This is going to be tough. There's not enough room to put all these villagers into safety. All those towers are kind of far forward.
Lead us in.
What great timing, too.
It's going to be a lot of villager idle time and potentially deaths as well.
Couple go down. 1, 2, maybe 3. Maybe 4. No, just 3 for now. Still, remember, they're Order the Dragon villagers, so they're worth extra. Palace Guards diving in now to the Woodline. The Woodline village is kind of relocating. Meanwhile, CSO looking for a place to pop in as well. But half his military is back at home trying to deal with these Palace Guards.
Yeah. Still out inside of Louis' base, trying to do some damage here and there. Great Wall Gatehouse still able to defend, though.
Oh, man, so many vills in danger. Another one went down, but it's only 4 vill kills. I feel like CSO has kind of dodged a bullet there. The idle time doesn't feel very good. Meanwhile, it's going to be knights. He's got some knights out there. Gilded knights on the field getting ready to go find some raids. More vills getting caught out. That could be a couple right there, but he walks right past them. Oh, he could have had a lot of kills at the moment. Meanwhile, I think he's busy because CSO is in Louis' base trying to look for some damage as well.
He's got a first bomb mod out now as well. That's a lot of siege right now. Like, pretty much all of Louis' army composition is in siege. And it's kind of dangerous when you look at his food income and you see he's only at like 1,000 food per minute. While CSO, once he gets his villagers working on the farms, he can be at over 2,000 food per minute here there.
Those gilded arms just marching through the base. Quick wall's coming up real quick. Those Vills, are they trapping themselves in there with them, though? They need to get out of there.
There's no gate coming in, but
No
the siege
gate.
can now start cleaning up.
A lot of Vills looking very rough. It's 7 to 6 villager kills.
So is he committing on the response to the siege? That's dangerous, though.
He drops a couple men-at-arms there for the effort. Meanwhile, Palace Guard's trying to slow them down. That siege mass, like you said, it's slow, not very mobile, but when it hits, it's going to hit really hard. But the Vills, nowhere to go either. They're getting picked off. Woodville's not safe, and Louis just kind of letting them take the hit.
I mean, he's on 2 TC songs still. He's getting villagers out very quickly. He's moving them back now. But these small little hits, it's not that much. At the same time, Louis, he's still inside the base of CSO. He's killing villagers left and right there on the farms.
Yeah, behind this,
he's losing
just
a lot.
bleeding eco. Now the number is 105 to 73 now. It was tied
CSO is
on
not
the sheer
reacting.
number. CSO is just
There we go.
letting
Now
it
he
happen.
notices. He notices it now. And now a keep from Louis in the middle to contest that sacred site. Gets blocked, though, by siege from CSO.
Trebuchet trying
Man,
to
this is
take
gonna
care
be
of
tough
the
to take
towers
down.
up front. Yeah, that Elsbach Palace is not an easy walkthrough, but all the farms, there's nobody farming right now for CSO.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get a
What's
good
going
look
on?
at the gold. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gold there. I was unsure for a second if it was me that
He's sort of wondering,
disconnected.
that's a large gold vein, 8,000 total.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold. At the moment with Vodafone, I really wasn't sure if it was me. I was like, wait.
I know, me too. I was a little worried at first. We're still
Yeah,
here.
Is it me? No, we're here. We're here.
We're still good. We're still good. At this point in the game, who would you say is winning?
Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Hello, everyone. It's
There you go. I was losing you for a second.
difficult to tell. I mean, we.
Is Crackety still there? Are we still there? I'm not
Back.
sure what's happening. Okay.
Oh, I think I'm catching up. Vodafone's back. Yeah, I'm back.
So at this point, I don't know if it's everyone's internet, if it's mine, if it's yours, if it's cows.
I think I'm good now, but it's not up to me. It's not up, no, everybody. It's not up to me that the game that what happened with the game. That's not me. That's not me. It's a separate issue. But yeah, we're back in the lobby screen. We're trying to figure out what's going on behind the scenes there. As it looks like we're kind of out of the game at the moment.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out who I thought had the edge there at the moment.
Yeah, it's tough to tell, right? Like both of them did damage to each other. Obviously, out of the Dragon, they don't need as many villagers there in order to have a healthy economy.
Yep.
And
Yeah, that felt like that.
he
We were
had a
kind of
good
waiting to see
army.
the dust settle there and see like where everything stood after all those engagements. Felt like we were about to get a moment of kind of a recoup, see what was going on.
Yeah. Like CSO, he did have like the slower army there, and Louis, he's just like streaming out these palace guards every now and then, get some of these raids in,
Mhm.
and it's pretty difficult at the moment for CSO because he doesn't have any walls. We're kind
Yeah,
of
that's the
back
big
in
one.
that situation where there's like the saying, if you're up against China and you haven't like walled by like minute, well, not minute, but like by end of Castle Age, Imperial Age Palace Guards, they can just pluck your economy apart and
They'll just walk
Yeah.
right in, which we kind of were starting to see a little bit. You know, Louis was walking in there and dealing. We didn't really get a grasp of how much damage had been done, but he was doing some damage behind that. Both players were kind of giving up some eco to fight the other.
yeah.
Looks like we are going to
Yeah,
be getting
I think
back into that.
overall-
It looks like
Yeah.
looks like one of the production guys' internet decided to die for a second, which is why we had that technical glitch. We should be back in just a minute.
Mhm. I mean, it's something to always keep in mind. Like CSO, he does have that Elsbeth Palace on the sacred sites, and
Yeah.
there is always the opportunity to go for that sacred site play, but it's very difficult. Like, he needs to be able to defend his space at the same time. He did switch into mass Gilded Knights, and Gilded Knights, they definitely work well there. And I think we're getting back into it now.
Yeah, and that Elsbach Palace definitely is going to secure the one. There is that other sacred site, but at the same time, I feel like a central fight with Louis's siege mass almost favors him a little bit.
Yeah.
But the question is, would he be able to stand on that sacred site right next to the Elsbach?
Especially when CSO is able to like mass knights, like the siege suddenly doesn't become that big of a factor. The Springles don't do bonus damage up against the knights, the Nest of Beasts don't do that bonus damage, the Bombards don't do that bonus damage. If you get up enough gilded knights, then CSO should be in a good spot to take a fight. The question though is, Louis, he didn't have a lot of food economy. Can he mass up enough spearmen to protect his siege there to go for the push onto those sacred sites? All right, we're trying to get our backup caster going on, backup observer going on right now. So we should be able to go back into the game in just a couple of seconds there.
We were just getting to the good part too, you know? It was kind of a slow build up. We were just getting to the action right then. I was really waiting to see the dust settle and see where things stood.
And there we go. Okay, finally.
Getting back
We're catching up right where we left off. There we go. Yeah, raids happening all around. And there we go. Louis trying to go for that keep in the middle earlier, but CSO with his landmark there, with the trebuchet already prepared.
There's that keep.
Louis no other choice to cancel it. Yeah.
We're just about 30 seconds behind where we were, so give us time to kind of look. So looking at the Vil kills, 23 to 14. Both these players have done some pretty good damage to each other. Louis, of course, has the villager lead, but of course CSO doesn't need as many villagers. But we can't forget those relics behind this.
And there is already a keep on the second sacred site, so CSO, he is locking in that sacred site play here for himself. We're also seeing veterancy coming in on the horsemen, so we'll also want to add some horsemen. We're up to 11 gilded knights at the moment. Another single spearman for Louis, and he's below 1,000 food per minute.
Yeah, he's hitting that point where he needs to get off of fish and onto farms. That transition might just bite him in the butt. He's really got to make a change here. And meanwhile, CSO has got 97 military units out on the field, or at least 97 populations worth.
Well, that's a keep from Louis. He's going to actually get that keep up, but CSO, no bombards out yet. Could, in theory, just pump a couple out, set them up there, and get rid of that keep. And we do have some funky walls behind this from Louis. He's also get some outposts up there in the back.
Kind of an aggressive play. I wonder if he's trying to do that just to deny trade, is what it looks like. Trying to keep the traders away. Because like you said, like he's saying, like there's no extra gold for CSO. He's got to go in the middle of the map to get it. But of course, now he's done so with the sacred site play.
All right.
Look at that
CSO
military number. I'm seeing
clean
16,
up the raids.
Only 16 units for Louis. Yeah, a lot of his military was thrown away into that, and now it looks like CSO's got a really scary mass.
Yeah, he's got no food. He's suddenly rushing up a farm transition, but he's only got less than 8 minutes remaining to push into those sacred site. Like, that was a very quickly rushed up farm transition here for him now. But it's going to take a while to really kick in. He did have like almost 3,000 wood per minute here at a point just in order to get these farms out. And now we start seeing him spam out some spearmen. The question is it maybe too late? As now CSO is going for a push.
It feels like this could be a death blow. CSO is timing this very, very well. Needs to be mindful not to lose all this to the Great Wall Gatehouse, but I mean, these are all very heavy units. They can honestly take a shot or two from that Great Wall Gatehouse.
Yeah, but it's not even protecting the farms.
It's not where it needs to be, so he's just going to dive into the base.
Spearman. No supervision at the moment on the barracks that's getting the upgrade, so it's going to be a while until we're getting to Castle Age Spearman. And now the raids are starting to come in. They're pushing around. Man, these knights are really, really tanky at the moment. And Feudal Age Spearman isn't going to cut it against them. Like, they barely tickle the knights here at this point in time. And CSO, he's trying to find a way around to get those knights onto the siege. More raids coming in now. The men-at-arms from the front side next to the Barbican, finding some value there. And there we go. The knights are on the siege. The mass siege plate from Louis. It's going down.
1, 2, 3, pop, pop, pop. Everything turning into splinters as these knights just find the perfect spot. They are looking for where to go. And now man, thousands of resources gone in a blink of an eye as everything is just shattered into pieces.
Yeah, Louis picking China here first. CSO not going for Zhuge's legacy, but out of the dragon instead. And it's looking really solid for him. And now he's finding his way onto the food. Louis.
And now it comes the death blow. Knights finding all the Farmvilles. This whole transition has only been up for about a minute. And these spears still trying to chase, but they're just chasing the Knights into more of the villagers.
Once again, charge comes in, and the Gilded Knight charge, it just absolutely decimates those villagers here. Louis, he finally went up to like 2,000 food per minute, but it's about to go down very quickly. Bombard's taken down, and now the men-at-arms up against the spearmen. That's an easy fight for them to take now that all the Springles are gone.
This feels like the death ball I was talking about, right? Once enough units get in the base, you just can't clean them up. They just cannot be cleaned up no matter how many nested bees you have. No matter how many of the direct counter you have to those knights, it's just not enough. And the timing of the food really killing Louis here, as it looks like CSO is going to take this game.
Yeah, there is no way out now at this point in time. Louis, he doesn't have the means in order to start like capturing any of the sacred sites. And there we go. GG gets called. CSO, game number 1 is going over to him.
Yeah, what a fun finish. I mean, it just comes down to that death ball, right? He made the transition into the heavy Gilded Knights. And once those get in the base, and once he found the siege, there's just no recovering, because the food transition was a little too late. That Imperial play, maybe just a little bit greedy, didn't get the farms in beforehand, was kind of, it feels like Louis was expecting to get another minute or two to get that online. And unfortunately for him, he threw away all of his palace guards into the base of CSO. And so as he made that transition, he suddenly had no military and no farms. And CSO was just massing in the corner with having fully farm transition behind that.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Kind of ironic that CSO with the color green managed to go for all of that sustainable food economy there very early on. And I mean, that's kind of like the benefit there, just having that sustainable food economy. Sure, like Louis, he was like, okay, I got so much food income. I'm on the shoreline fish. I'm on deer. I can easily afford Imperial Age behind this. Imperial Age comes in. He still has good food economy, but suddenly the fish runs out, the deer run out, it's all going down, and he just doesn't have the food economy in order to react to the tech switch from the Knights from CSO, and that's kind of how it plays out. But game number 2, right around the corner, we're going to be seeing an interesting one as we're going to be heading to Gorge with Byzantine up against Jeanne d'Arc.
Yeah, this will be a fun one. Feels like last game, he was running on playing on credit almost, right? Then the food ran out, and the credit card bill was due, and he didn't have the ability to pay in the food he needed. Yeah, moving on to Gorge, Byzantines against Jeanne d'Arc. Fun picks on this one. I like Jeanne d'Arc as a choice on this map. Just I like how open it is. I like being able to aggress. Knights feel really good on a map like this, where all the resources are on the wings. You can just go right down across the middle and attack. What do you expect to see out of Louis' Byzantines here?
I mean, there's like when you're up against Jeanne d'Arc, there's always like this one unit that you want to make with javelin throwers as your main mercenary unit. Mainly because javelin throwers it's like a big line popping up in your opponent's screen. Do not go range John. If you go range John, you lose. At the same time, like longbows are also really nice to play around, but we've just seen javelin throwers reign supreme in this matchup. Not just because javelin throwers are able to snipe out range John or even melee John for that matter, thanks to their like relatively high base damage, but also because of the next unit that you get in. The camels. Camel on ease against a civilization like Jeanne that just really likes going for knights. So much value there. So much value.
It negates the whole like because I mean they do camel on ease is 20% damage debuff, and Jeanne d'Arc they can consecrate their buildings and get 20% off of their knights. So essentially it's negating that 1/5 bonus that French is getting. So they get 1/5 extra knights, 20% more knights. But Byzantines is going to be cutting that by 20% of damage. So really kind of evens the playing field. So yeah, I definitely agree. Javelin throwers for dissuading CSO from going from the range John, and then obviously having the camel on ease. So important against a French civ.
Yeah. Just in general, like Byzantines, they've got really, really nice tools when up against Jeanne. But we've also seen Jeanne's champions kind of like get more
Yeah.
picked more often recently. Like a mass Jean's Champions army composition went up against the Byzantines. But we're going to see what these players are going to be going for as we're jumping right into our game number 2 now. CSO able to win the first one. Now it's Louis' turn to make something happen here. We're up on Gorge with Byzantines up against Jeanne d'Arc.
Byzantines for Louis, looking to try and even up this series. It's going to be an immediate barracks drop from CSO, so some Dark Age aggression perhaps. Maybe going to get onto those berries early, and that's going to work out for him because both the gold and the berries for Louis are dead in front, right up in the center. So this could work out really well if we get an early spear.
This is a difficult macro build to pay off now for CSO. Like, this is something different. This is something that you kind of need to practice in order to get down right. And Louis, he's mirroring it. He's mirroring it blind. He didn't even see that yet. We're immediately seeing the Dark Age play from the Byzantines here. But this is dangerous. Look, this is kind of dangerous more dangerous for Byzantines because their spearmen are a lot more expensive in the food department. Food, a resource that you don't want to run out too early in the early game on. And I mean,
both these players have read the Dark Age. Yeah, I'm really impressed that both players decided to read this Dark Age play from each other. And now obviously see Louis sees the barracks, knows that that is what's happening, probably feels okay that he went for one himself. But again, like, his spawn does not do him any favors. He's got the gold and the berries dead up front. And so he's going to have to be very mindful to get the resources he needs, even with those limits tonight. And you're right, like, they're more expensive. So the more he invests, the harder it's going to be to age up.
CSO now reaches the gold. He's noticing, wait, my opponent's not even on the gold. What's going on there? That's kind of strange. That's not how this is supposed to be. Suddenly, he sees this opponent's limit 9. He's like, oh, okay, we're going to play it this way. All right. More spearmen get queued up on both sides now. This is going to be such a messy Dark Age game from here on out.
Neither player has mined a single coin of gold out of the ground. Just spears on spears so far as their spears retreating for CSO. I wonder what's going through his mind right now, going, oh, these are coming out of the darkness. I wonder if this is one of those things where these players have just played each other enough. They kind of know what their tendencies are. I wonder if we'll see a turnaround here with the 4 spears against the 3. Yep, sure enough. They say 4 is more than 3, even though limits today are a bit of a better unit overall. They are more pricey, but that's enough to dissuade Louis from going all the way.
They mainly have just a little bit more HP. Dunzos, they get more armor, like some melee armor. Limit 9 instead, they get 10 more HP, which means they're going to survive 2 more hits here at the end of the day, which is pretty good overall, like especially in these like small engagements that you can take early on. Louis, he's now moved out to gold. CSO hasn't done so yet, and Louis, he got his first cistern out. So yeah, I mean, with the first cistern, like, he's already been working in Dark Age with a 10% economy buff so far. He's looking pretty good when it comes to that.
Him. That's a great placement, too. It covers everything he needs for the time being. It's like CSO looking to poke here.
He's only just now moving out to the goal. I'm wondering if maybe at one point he might want to pull Jeanne forward for an engagement. Just have her there as a quote-unquote Dark Age villager meat shield that can turn into a Beyblade at any point in time.
Like a ticking time bomb, like a sleeper Agent John just waiting to pop off. Meanwhile, this is all Louis needs right now, is just to kind of push these spears back, not let any damage get done. He's getting gold ahead of this. He will be able to age up before CSO at this rate. Almost got the gold he needs. And like you said, that cistern already giving us 10% buff. So long term, I don't know if this feels really good for CSO unless he can get some damage done. Because I don't think Louis is going to invest a whole lot more until he ages up.
Yeah. I mean, Louis, is he completely off of wood now at the moment? Never mind, he's still gathering wood. Limitne, they only cost 10 wood, so you can kind of like focus your economy a bit more towards the age up with that. CSO is going to have to use 20 wood per spearman. He's still ahead in the spearman count now, but Louis, he's gathered up enough gold. He can go for the age up at any point in time now, as soon as he has the food for it. I think loueMT, he's got enough troops to defend. There we go, Grand Winery now coming in for him. CSO, his age up's going to be a little bit delayed, and even if you go for the cavalry play here with the School of Cavalry, your opponent already has a counter to it.
Yeah, already has quite a couple too. 9 Limitine on the field already. 11 spears for CSO. I feel like he knows he needs to get some damage done or something. That Grand Winery already a third of the way up. Meanwhile, CsO finally able to drop that school cavalry, but like you said, already has loueMT on the field, so it's going to be difficult to get into the base. Spears looking to get some damage done.
I think he's getting the vision in now on what's going to happen here with the age up. Yeah, school of cavalry also coming in. John already about to be able to have the... I say already, we're almost like 6 minutes into game. Just about has the experience needed in order to go for the for level up. And CsO, he's just going to burn down the mining camp, at least get some value out of this. Like, extract a little bit of value here at this point in time.
Little stab back and forth, trying to get that thing torched down. Curious what
Is Louis going to pill a villager to repair? So going for
melee
the
Joan of Arc.
He's going for
still up.
Repair. Yeah, it's going to get repaired now.
Yeah.
Well, no veterans, but the hard upgrade coming in.
Feels like Louis has navigated this very, very well. Despite his resources all being forward, he's definitely secured them now for himself. I like the tower placement right there. That's going to cover a lot. That's a really good spot for it. Well, that's going to help move out to the other berries. The second berry patch.
It's right behind it.
Spears pulled on it, though.
But there's Melee John. Beyblade John has arrived.
Now it looks tough suddenly for Louis. No, he's not going to get that up at all. He's got to be careful. One Vil with an inch of his life. Spin to win is on the table. And yeah, Louis got to back off of this because Jean is what makes the difference here. And with no outpost up yet, that spin to win is going to keep doing more damage and a lot of XP without even having a single knight out there yet.
Yeah, and every time the outpost gets cancelled, that's 10 experience for Jean.
And it's definitely going to go down again here. Villagers trying to rush it up, trying to keep it going.
There's a random villager there from CsO as well.
What is he doing there?
I'm not sure.
I think he got the killing blow on that one.
Back, but villager's going to go down. How's CsO ending up with a villager here now, Ted?
You know, if you were to ask me who's going to have a villager kill, I would not have expected it to be Louis.
Yeah,
there's a knight coming in.
I guess behind the... Yeah, Louis has just been spamming out more loueMT behind all of this, so he did have the mass advantage for this. CsO, he has made the switch into both archers and knights behind this now. But we are starting to see some mercenaries now being planned here for Louis. He's also moved out to stone, so additional cisterns up on the table. And emplacement on the outpost now. It's going to make it very hard for CsO to find damage here.
Yeah, Louis, now that he's got this area secured, he is not going to give it up again. He, I think, definitely wants to hold this spot. And ideally, he wants to move out to that berry pack
villager
just to the east.
Well, what's he doing there? Is he going to try and go for an outpost now on the other side to potentially harass the berries there? I think that might be the plan. I mean, it's double berries forward. If he gets the outpost up here, then just has to be able to protect around. Yeah, there he is. He's going for the outpost.
Oh,
he wants that outpost in there
immediately.
My question is, can he stop it? We do see the javelin throwers queued up right now. Only cistern level 1, so the outpost should be going up. Never forget that. Also, Jean is boosting up that villager here with that aura, plus 33% building speed on that one villager.
Yeah, Louis.
Midnight moving forward.
Take a push here.
Good Beyblade.
Spin to win. Another couple of deaths. Like a tornado of death and steel. Joan of Arc taking a couple more. And with the heal, very clutch timing on that.
There's shield wall up on those spearmen, even though they're not being attacked by archers right now. It means they're attacking very slowly. Partially.
Another spin. Those spears are looking super weak. Another one goes down, another after that, and a third.
Villager's
still alive. A lot of XP to be given to John. Yeah, Villager backing up a little bit, trying to stay alive. At this point, it's just dead loueMT all around.
Yeah, the outpost still
knights, though. The outpost is still up somehow. Villager coming back in.
But the javelin throwers, that's the key now. Louis going to be able to kill the villager. Oh, and
Villager
the plan
goes
from
down.
CsO.
Outpost not up.
The timing. A second villager dead now for CsO. And now Louis can just move up to the next berry bush. Another outpost there.
Man, that was a really tight series of events right there. It really could have gone either way depending on the micro. A lot of dead loueMT though, helping CsO quite a bit. But Louis making that sacrifice, saying a lot of you spears may die, but it's a sacrifice that had to happen.
Definitely did, but it also means that John, she's gained a lot of valuable experience.
Yeah.
Now halfway to level 3.
And that's something that we're going to see later in the game, right? That's going to pay off later. We don't see the payoff now, but that can make a huge swing later in the game for CSO.
We're getting into late Pro Scout now as well, coming in for CSO, so he's going to be able to do his farm transition good bit later. He's out on the berries right now, and by the time that the berries deplete, he's going to be able to move out to the deer underneath his TC. But this is still a rough window at the moment for CSO, I want to say. He didn't manage to really get anything done with his early aggression now. He did trade out a little bit. He did get some experience. But now he needs to find a way to really utilize that experience, get all the way up to level 3 and start pumping out some of those John's champions maybe.
Yeah, it feels like CSO needs to be aggressive somehow and needs to find a way to do that. Pro Scouts is going to slow things down just a little bit, secure some food. This would be a great spot to be poking. The other berries going up underneath CSO's nose. He's not going to see it in time.
He's going to look around it, so at least he's going to know that that's going to happen.
What's an A chasing down the
knights. There are
knights?
going to be spots to harass. There we go.
At
Pro
this point,
Scouts.
CSO is on the berries for food. So struggling there a little bit in the food department. That's going to run out quickly. Needs to get those deer in.
Yeah. But with that, he's going to have roughly like 5,000 food safely underneath his TC. That's going to set him up for the next 10 minutes-ish. We're seeing the blacksmith now coming in as well. Louis behind this,
thing is
getting up to cistern level 4 now.
Yeah, I was going to say, the tricky thing is, like, yeah, you're set up for the next 10 minutes, but so is your opponent right now. I mean, Louis is going to have almost maxed up on his cistern level. He's going to be cranking in the olive oil. He's got quite a good military mass here, something that really CSO can't really contest at the moment.
Yeah. So
and you feel like now it looks like
gonna...
Louis kind of macroing to Castle Age.
Yeah, Castle Age definitely something that's possible for Louis, not so much for CSO. Grant, he is going to get a lot of this this very good food income now. He's massing up archers and knights, which could be good for a timing push. The issue is that there is still enough javelin throwers here to one-shot those archers, and spearmen, or rather Limit, they just don't go down quickly enough.
Yeah, and with the olive oil coming in, those jabs are just going to keep coming in. Now it's up to 12 javelin throwers. That's enough to give anyone pause. Does have those exposed vills with outpost, but there are some arrow slits on it. A couple of knights could maybe get a good pick, but not enough to slow Louis' timing down here. He will be Castle Age in just a few minutes.
Yeah. Here's damage now coming in as well. Louis now moving over to those deer. Has to be careful with those javelin throwers out there. Now up to 12. So gets a good glimpse on the army count.
Cistern level 5 now in. So Louis, man, he's going to hit Castle Age with full steam ahead. If he starts adding in some olive groves behind this, he's going to be set for the long game.
Golden
Horn Tower. Golden Horn Tower.
Coming in.
Yep.
That's going to be really, really good for his military count as well. With 5 cisterns, yeah, this thing's going to pump out units like there's no tomorrow. Already enough for another bunch of javelin throws. Those are also going to come out really quickly. And CSO, he's preparing for his push now.
This push, I think it's a tough push even without the Castle Age coming in.
He finds a little group of Limit out of position, though. And the javelin throwers, they're completely out of position.
Ooh, this could be good for CSO. Knights getting onto the javelins. loueMT running back. Joan of Arc just getting a little bit more XP. She's really kind of getting close. She just needs a couple good hits more. She'll be level 3. Can they stop the age up, though? Archer's now getting hit by the javelins.
Yeah, and Louis, I think CSO, he's got to now commit to the dive. Archer's still focusing on the Limit Knight. John just in the back, trying to soak back experience, but the Archer count is starting to fall. She's getting close. She is getting really, really close now in the experience department, but there's only 5 Archers left now. 4 has to retreat for the time being.
Louis going to be up in Castle Age. The Knights, he didn't quite commit to the dive. Those loueMT were just enough to keep the Knights away. And the Archer number looking really low right now for CSO compared to the Javelins. And now with Louis up in Castle Age, ooh, you're going to start getting those camels out in the field here in a second, and it's going to be really tough. Even though CSO's got a lot of food at home, he's going to be able to match the timing here in just a minute.
Yeah.
For the Castle Age. Louis, meanwhile, like you mentioned, when you get to Castle Age first, hopefully he makes a play here for the sacred sites, the relics, which we see already, a monk in the queue. So at least probably 3 of those are going to go his way. If I'm CSO, I'm hopefully setting a couple knights to go sit on those relics and deny them.
Getting Guildhall in, so CSO is somewhat taking a safe route here with an economic play, potentially, as the game goes on. I mean, Jean's really close to leveling up now. And CSO has enough units that Louis can't just immediately send the Monk all the way to CSO's relics. So I think the positioning at the moment is actually quite fine for CSO. These Veterancy Knights, they're going to be able to do a great job when it comes to raiding. And Louis, he's still kind of bound on his infantry, right? So the infantry isn't as mobile as the Knights, but Louis is pushing forward. He does have the Veterancy upgrades in, courtesy of Dialecticus. It's going to be a difficult timing, potentially.
CSO later in the game is going to have a lot of opportunities to poke and prod at those villagers, especially as the olive groves get up. He's going to need to get those knights in there. Louis, meanwhile, like you mentioned, kind of a slow mass here, not able to move and react as quickly. Trying to take over the center of the map here. We do see knights getting aged up into veterancy.
Getting the Jean-specific upgrade as well, so knight's going to be a little bit cheaper from there on out. Not just in the food department, but also in the gold department. And there we go. Jean level up, passively came... Well, not actually passively, actively. He went for the sacred side to get the plus 50 experience there. Mounted Jean now in, and we should be seeing Jean's champions on the battlefield soon.
Monk going down. Yeah, that monk going down. Knights doing exactly what we would hope CSO would do, camping on the relics. And now Louis looking for a chance to maybe do some damage back. Looking at that gold vein, but decides to back off for the time being.
Yeah, I think he realizes that now with level 3, that ain't his fight.
Yeah, you don't want anything with that. As much as you love the spin to win, you definitely don't want the mounted version either.
At least now, the Limit actually do a lot of damage to Jean, so Jean has to be a lot more careful. Instead of using Jean up against Limit, you now want to start using Jean up against the Javelin Throwers.
Yeah.
So we're all kind of changed in the fights. Looks like CSO managed to sneak away a lot of the deer from Louis on his side.
The Javelin Thrower numbers are kind of scary at 19 with more on the way, but it's hard to replenish this. If he ever gets those caught out by those Knights, it's going to be really difficult for Louis to get anything back, because obviously you can't just reproduce them.
CSO, he's getting the upgrade for the strength factor to like buff up the Jean's champions, but on top of that, also going to buff up Jean, and he's actively producing Jean's champions now.
That's a fun play.
With consecrated barracks as well behind this.
Louis does see that happening, however. He does see him pop out, and he has an idea that there is the barracks there.
I feel like Louis might be overstaying here a little bit, though, once we get up to like 10 of these Jean's champions. But at the same time, okay, a little bit of harass on the gold mine going on there. There is an outpost, though.
Louis angling for a fight on the corner here.
I mean, CSO has great vision here.
If those jabs go down for whatever reason, he's not going to be able to get them back.
Camels here as well, though.
Camels with the debuff. And the champions, though, coming in. There's no real good answer for those, though. I think Louis knows it. Trying to find a good engagement. Gets John caught out, but
heals immediately.
Gets out. That was a really clutch heal, and she gets pulled away immediately to keep her alive. Knights trying to take some engagements, getting hit by Limit. Javelin Thrower's doing a good job. Louis keeping them really well secured and alive. Not a lot of places to go. Joan of Arc coming in for the swing and hit again.
Oh,
and gets sniped away immediately.
Kill. Yeah, that's a very quick kill. CSO, he's keeping his archers in the stealth forest, tries to keep them outside of the vision from those javelin throws, but it just doesn't feel like it's quite enough there. Armies are starting to thin out now, but Louis, I mean, he still has the insane production speed from the Golden Tower.
Yeah, the camels really helping him out here as well with the debuff. You can just feel the effect. The Knight's not doing as much damage. Limit able to do a little bit better. And the Jav numbers are still up. Now, as long as his front line can hold here, Louis going to be in a really good position.
Yeah, more Limit coming in. Yeah, like you see all of these pink dots just running across the map now. Lots of Knights on retreat also going down. I think CSO, he might need to have to forfeit this position now on the gold mine.
Fleeing. And the Jav, again, the Jav numbers are what's keeping him in this right now. The fact that he's able to keep them alive is the really good micro, really good positional movement of his military. Because such a high base damage, as you said earlier. And so now those 5 villagers in the tower, they know that their doom is nigh.
Behind this, CSO did move out to the boar, is moving out to other resources at the top side of the map. There's a gold mine there at least, so it's not like he's completely shut off of gold at the moment. Still remassing Jean's champions, has bought her back as well. Yeah, those villagers are gonna go down now. Some villagers
All
on the
5
wood
of
line
them
there
gone.
aren't gonna get discovered though, and this CsO, he's got John back now. He's going for round 2.
Round 2 sets off. A couple javelins got picked off there, but the loueMT numbers are still holding steady. Running back, Joan of Arc able to now back on the field, able to do some damage as well. As we see Louis just trying to
She's
kite
going
this
down
back.
so quickly.
Yeah, the jav throwers just do so much damage to her. And loueMT able just to kind of surround and poke. Another
John
good
Champion's
hold here by
just-
Louis.
So slow here, which means that Louis is just able to kite back every single time, and with this many javelin throws, he's just able to almost one-shot even the Jean's champions. An armor
that
unit,
critical
second
mass is
TC
so
behind us
important.
now.
I love the second TC play because he's holding really steady. The only danger is that CsO has that guild hall and could eventually click up for a quick Imperial Age, but it feels kind of a ways off still. So getting the extra
Can we
bonus
check
to the villagers
guild
is going
hall,
to be
actually?
good.
Just see how much is in there? Well, that could make a big difference now. There's 1,000 food in there.
1,000? Not quite enough yet. Another couple minutes to get that up to where it needs to be. But now, diving into the base,
consecrate
Louis
buildings.
taking it right onto the front, saying, no, your discounts are over. The sale is done. Forges down a archery range in very quick order. And right through the
Yeah,
base,
CsO, he's
Javelin
in
Thrower is
trouble
just
now.
not afraid.
You're doing so much damage there, even up against the Jean champions now. Jean kind of the only unit here that's able to like stand her ground, at least from
Yeah,
range.
it feels kind of
from
like that
distance.
initial engagement in the beginning. It kind of put Louis ahead in timing a little bit, and it feels like CsO's been trying to catch up. But now with all these javelin throwers out in the field, and Louis done a good job of just continue to pump these out. So he's not losing. He's kind of kept the net number around the same spot. He's been around mid to high 20s with these the entire time. And that's
feel
just
like if
enough to
this-
keep one-shotting stuff.
Situation was happening like in front of Louis' base, CsO would be in a much better spot because Louis wouldn't be able to just fall back indefinitely. But now, since Louis is so far forward, he has that room, he has that space to kite back all the way to his own base.
Yeah, and he's been doing so good with that micro. Again, very positional battles here from Louis. Just making sure the loueMT are in the right spot, making sure the javelins are never caught out. Making it really tough for CsO to do anything.
Villagers now on the next gold mine. They're getting found out.
That's rough. Running out of gold is not what CsO wants to have happen. Make it very hard to keep pumping out those champions and those knights. In fact, that's a lot of idols. 24 villagers just standing and watching the fight as the clash continues. Champions getting picked off
John
little
comes
by
in.
little. Knights coming in defense.
One's back now for the buff on the Jean's champions. They can actually do a good bit of damage there. The issue is still like the movement speed.
Yeah,
Only
they're just
because
so slow.
Louis is actively kiting, they're able to get a couple of hits in every now and then. And a little bit, no, they just poke through.
Elements today are just ever such a threat. The knights really can't stick around and take a fight at all. So it's really down to those champions to close the gap. And as you say, they keep kiting. However,
They're actually
getting some
getting
damage
on
down
them.
now. Yeah, now they're getting onto him right now. Feels like Louis just diving after John.
She's risky here.
So
She's
close to
risking a
being
lot.
dead. Back onto the Vills, trying to deny the gold. I think those jabs got just about cleaned up, though.
Yeah, they pretty much got cleaned up completely by those champions now.
Not so sure I like that choice, because again, they were at a critical mass, and now without them, you either need to swap into like crossbows or do something different then, because those champions aren't going to go anywhere. You know, he's going to keep making them.
Yeah. We're now seeing cataphracts coming in as well. Louis already got 4 cataphracts, mass camels behind as well. That's not something that the that Jean's champions can really deal with now. CsO remassing onto the knights, but he just doesn't have the economy now. He doesn't have the gold income. His gold has been idled once again.
Yeah, it feels like maybe dropping
it is.
those was a call. It looks like he was dropping the javelins on purpose, and sure enough, the writing is on the wall, and the towel is thrown in. We have a tied series, 1-1.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. But Byzantines, they're in such a good spot when up against Jean d'Arc here. Kind of paints the whole picture. I feel like CsO, in between, he had a really, really good military lead. Maybe he should have been more active then during the age up with his knights, like when Louis sent all of his units across the map. I think that should have been the moment in time for CsO to try and go for some raids around, maybe surround not just from the bottom side, but also from the top side. I think that's why I mentioned earlier, like Louis' army just being better at kiting and being so far forward that they have all of that potential space to kite back to really, really hurt CsO there during those fights.
When Louis managed to get all 5 of those relics back home, I really would have liked to see CsO deny at least 2 of those. You know, at least the ones closest to you should have been denied. He killed at least one monk, but then I think he kind of lost them for the plot and the rest of the game, right? Because all those battles on the gold and the south side. But, there were a couple moments too where CsO could maybe sent those knights down to that berry pack that was in the south corner that Louis kind of snuck out onto. There were a couple of spots where, yeah, he could have just sent a couple knights into the base when the most of the bulk was up front. Because with such a slow mass, it's scary that it's in front of your base. But like you said, like while that's happening, just go raid behind it because they can't rush back fast enough. But it takes the game.
Next
now it's 1-1.
And next up, we're going to be going over to Carmel with Abbasid for Louis up against Zushi's Legacy for CsO. And that's an interesting one because Carmel actually does have a lot, and I mean a lot, I repeat, a lot of food, not just in terms of deer and a boar, but also in berry bushes. There are so many berry bushes on that map, and you just have a ton of access to food there. And we're just talking about civilizations and the units that they have. Abbasid have the best trash units in the game that don't cost gold. The best archers, the best spearmen, camel archers. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, Abba's not a civ we've seen a lot of in this tournament. It's been picked kind of in the fringes. So it's fun to see this one coming up against Zushi. Obviously, we know what Zushi's going to do. It's probably going to be a pro scout, kind of a fast castle kind of play. That gives Abba a lot of opportunities to do some stuff, right? That gives a lot of chance to maybe secure that food, go for a second town center. I'm curious to see how aggressive CsO is going to be instead with Zushi, because the typical play is just pro scouts, fast castle, but against Abbasid, maybe you think of a feudal age play. Maybe you think of doing something to more pressure that town center. Obviously, it's going to be up really quick, so I'm curious how this will play out. It's just a matchup we haven't seen as much of late, just because of the lack of picks from Abba. But this will be a fun game.
Something like mass Jugunu and some spearmen push like that straight forward through the middle could be definitely an option here for CsO. But I think like at the moment we're kind of in that meta, or I'm not sure if CsO has the mindset for it. Mainly because we're like still in that meta with like fast castle age, with Zushi's Legacy and pro scout, get all the deer, and right because this map does still have a good amount of deer.
Yeah, I kind of expect Zushi to always just go pro scouts into fast castle. There is I throw it out because there is the option. We shouldn't be too surprised if a feudal engagement comes in, especially with a civ like Abbasid that's planning on probably going for 2 town centers, I'd imagine. But of course, there's a couple different builds Abba could do as well. But I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't do the eco play here. Yeah. And they could do it. They could do like a fast castle Gulam rush. That'd be kind of fun to see. But I don't know that it would be able to compete with Zushi's timing.
Yeah, something to always keep in mind is there's not a ton of gold. So if you go for fast casting, an opponent aggresses upon you and denies the gold, then you can find yourself in a really, really tough spot. Our countdown's over now, so we should be getting very close into our game number 3 in just a little bit. It's getting prepared for you in behind the back and just a couple of moments. And there we go. Jumping right into it. Tied up series right now. loueMT and CsO 1-1 on the scoreboard. And now we're going to be going over to Carmel for game number 3, Zushi's Legacy up against the Abbasid dynasty.
Expecting a fun one here. Matchup we haven't seen a lot this tournament, as I've mentioned. I'm really curious to see what CsO does. If he goes for just a standard meta pro scouts, or if he does something different. Meanwhile, Louis, we kind of expect 2 town centers like I was mentioning, but you never know. They can always do some other things as well. As we see the first sheep being gathered right now, House of Wisdom being dropped.
It's not just deer. This map also has a lot of sheep.
It does. It has a lot.
What's the scouting looking like here? It's kind of mirrored. Yeah, both players just going for the opposite side and then like making a little lane and going back to their side of the map. So pretty even scouting between the two.
Yeah, pretty even across the board. There's not a lot of resources in the middle of this map. It feels pretty empty in the middle.
Yeah, there's only like the main big gold in the middle. Like you only have those small 1.6k gold veins all around. And then in the middle you got like this one large 8k. And there's actually some small 1.6k right next to it. So there's just a ton of gold in the middle of the map. Actually, pretty much the majority of the gold is right there on this one screen.
But all the food, of course, on the fringes of the map. So it makes for an interesting dichotomy, right? Where like eventually the gold is going to become pivotal in the late game, right? Where that's where everyone's going to be focused on. But in the mid to early game, it's going to be all about all these deer. It has a lot of deer.
Yeah, that's
a pack and a half.
It's a load of deer.
Well, Pro
Wouldn't
Scouts
want to
play
be a
could do
dietitian
lot.
in those times.
No.
Could only recommend venison.
Venison or maybe some berries.
Berries as a side dish, yeah. I mean, that's
Military
what you
wing
use
coming
in
in.
order to garnish, right?
Garnishing your venison with some nice fresh berries. Military wing coming in for Louis. That could be useful
so he's
to
gonna have
deny some Pro
immediately-
Scouts.
Yeah, exactly. Just do some damage on your opponent's side, deny Pro Scouts, and we are going to be seeing that meditation gun. Beautiful spot here inside of CSO space for it. Double gold, berries, and a little touch of wood. Just a slight little aftertaste of wood right there with it as well.
That's a good
For a
spot.
pretty good meditation gun spot. It's almost as good as Dome of the Faith for Delhi. Almost.
Almost. A lot of
That's
sheep
fine.
on both sides. I, of course, really enjoy seeing all the lots of sheep coming in. Personal fan. Well, and you mentioned, too, with Abbasid, there's so many berry patches on this, too. If you wanted to put a second town center in one of those corners and sneak one up there, you'd get a lot of resources out of it.
Yeah. It's a little bit dangerous. Okay, so we are getting the play onto the stone mine. So this is a typical military wing to secure a second TC type play here from the Abbasid. And there is a pretty good spot at the top side there with where the boar is. But that's where also the dangerous part is. Sure, you get like 3 berry packs, which is really good for the Abbasid. But there's a boar there. So your opponent, in theory, if he just has a scout there, able to pull the scout, able to pull the boar onto the villagers that are trying to build that TC, you're going to need to have your units there.
Yeah, you're gonna probably have to lame that boar if you're Louis and you want to go out to that spot. But otherwise, you got the 3 deer and all those packs of berries. It's tempting, but like you said, it is risky. It is kind of up in the corner, though. I'm curious to see where Louis will put this town center.
He scouts the base of Louis now, so he knows exactly what the play is with the second TC. And he's about to see the unit, so he knows. He's going to know which wing it is with. There we go, now sees the units as well. And Louis tries to lame the sheep, but he's so able to run away quick enough. And there we go. Archer range as a response is going to be able to get a couple of Jugunu out. 2, 3 should be enough in order to deal with this.
I like this play, and it's exactly what he needs to do, right? Just enough to take care of the military wing, but it also leaves him the option of leaning into that more if he wants early as well.
Yeah. I mean, if he's able to clean up the army, then Louis, he's going to need to invest into a stable and get some horsemen out there. First Jugunu arrives, second one following right up.
And keep in mind, those spears are, of course, for the viewers at home, the spears start out as Dark Age spears. So, particularly weak here.
Second TC inside the base from Louis, doesn't want to go for all of that walking time. Able to finish off that one sheep that he hit earlier. There we go, second TC on the gold. And yeah, Louis' economy is pretty safe, but doesn't secure any resources outside of his own base.
Yeah, he kind of sits on that little wood line right there, but not a lot else. He does have that gold to the south of his base a little bit that he could probably angle towards if he needs to.
Yeah. He also didn't get a discount on that TC with the military wing. So it's not like an immediate burst out there. Can we quickly check his mill as well? Did he already have fresh foodstuffs? Is it something that he got immediately upon age up? He did. Okay, so fresh foodstuffs in, so at least the villagers have already been discounted for a while. We're also getting to Golden Age now. Once that stable is up, that's going to mean immediate Golden Age plus 15% gather speed. Pretty good.
Pro Scouts already in now for CSO. No surprise there.
And there we go. Golden Age activated. Now behind the CSO, yeah, probably just going to try and go for that Castle Age. Any surplus gold that he has is just going to go over into more upgrades. In this case, wheelbarrow. Also getting a stable barracks in, so he's going to have the tools to react to the barracks from his opponent.
I'm curious if Louis is going to get enough. I'm curious if Louis is going to get enough value out of that military wing to start. I wonder if he'd been better off going eco to start out.
I mean, he's been able to delay a little bit. He forced that archer range. He forced the 3 Jugunu. It's a bit of value, and most importantly, like, should there be a big fight going on early on, he's going to be able to transition into boot camp, get that out really quickly.
true.
We're seeing a double play now onto the horseman, so he's really committing to the horseman play now.
Now, only 2 spears out for CSO. He does have that barracks, so we can make some more. Jugunu are, of course, the chief concern.
So with that barracks play now, it's going to be looking actually in quite a good spot. Like, there's only 2 archers and just mass horsemen coming out from Louis. I'm wondering what the plan is, if this is just going to be a transition now into Castle Age, because the army composition, at least for now, he's going to have to go into archers at some point very soon here, because right now, the army composition just doesn't make a lot of sense if he wants to stay in Feudal.
Archers trying to get some damage on the Vills. Now they're just shooting the meditation gardens just to annoy it.
Disturbing the peace.
Disturbing the peace. No longer meditation.
3rd stable.
That's really aggressive.
Yeah, at the same time, Louis also just moving out with some villagers over to the berries. But this is now the kind of point in time where Louis is a bit vulnerable. So maybe he's just feigning aggression, trying to raid, trying to annoy, and most importantly, keep his opponent on his side of the map. Making use of the horseman there for that.
He does have a 6 villager lead now. So that should kind of over-encompass what the meditation gardens is doing.
Age up is coming in soon, though.
Yeah, very soon.
And horsemen don't feel too good when up against knights.
No, not at all. And there's the Shaolin Monastery coming up. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this horseman play. I think I'm with you. Because horsemen are so expensive, too, you know? And so it's just delaying your own chance to age up. Obviously, you're not spending that much food on villagers at the moment, given fresh foodstuffs. But even still, you could be stockpiling that maybe for something else.
If CSO keeps like 6, 7 spearmen back in his base and just harasses now with knights after his own age up, I think he should be in a really, really good spot. Just because 3 spearmen should be enough to deal with like 5, 6 horsemen inside of the base with supportive TC fire.
Nice little pick up there on the side, though. Getting across, the Jugunu, excuse me. 2 for this effort
gets
there.
delayed a little bit. EC's going to start taking down a couple of the horsemen, though.
He does clean up the
Horsemen
Jugunu
not dying
in the base.
that quickly. Yeah.
Only loses 2 for the effort. That feels like a decent trade.
It's
given the
worth it.
idle time. I think it was worth
decent
it.
enough. We're also seeing camel archers coming in now, and camel archers are a unit in the game that exists for sure.
They exist.
Yeah, it's a Feudal Age unit with high base damage, high mobility, high HP, camel unease. Does cost a fair bunch, but
They feel good against like
it's a
slow
unit.
lumbering units. I feel like they're really good against like kiting like men-at-arms in particular if you're trying to defend. But in this scenario, I don't know that they do like I don't know that they're the best call here. I guess maybe 1 or 2 just to have the unease.
They're pretty good against just all of these melee armored units.
Unfortunately
CSO
for
is having some
Louis,
problem when it
there's
comes
not a
to
lot of
getting
armored
to
melee
food.
on the field right at the moment. Meditation
Getting
Garden's
there,
down to half.
getting there. CSO now has his armored unit out in the front. He's going to want to go for a little clash now. Pierce armor also in now for Louis. So, I mean, the camel archers, they also have a lot more attack speed than normal archers. Like, they really do damage.
Yeah.
Especially up against unarmored infantry. For some reason, Janissaries also count into that. Luckily, there's nobody here that's going to suffer from a fate of making Janissaries up against camel archers. Which is funny because they both do bonus damage to each other, but camel archers absolutely annihilate Janissaries.
Louis now up to 52 villagers, so he's got a substantive economic lead at this point in the game. He is down the age, however, so he's going to need to look to save up something eventually for that, which is going to get more and more difficult as CSO continue to mass up these Lancers. And CSO's got enough food in his base for a while. Like, he doesn't need to go out for any food, but he is going to run out of gold pretty quickly here. And that could be maybe a window for Louis to do some damage. That 1,600 gold, not going to last forever.
CsOH has to be really careful now just because he doesn't have that much military out at the moment. Like, this is a lot of military now from Louis just running in at the moment. No veterancy upgrades yet on those Jugunu. So he's
Thankfully,
still
he's got the Lancers, but they're starting to pickle down some damage. Camel Archers focusing firing on them. Lancer's going to go down here in a second.
Doing a lot of damage there past the armor.
There's not much else behind this. That's going to be a wrap around the Zugunu. They're going to start getting just clawed to pieces by these horsemen. And meanwhile, the food is idled.
They're still Feudal Age Palace Guards, early Palace Guards at the moment.
This is a great raid by Louis. 27 units are not working. A lot of
Killed
damage,
4
wipes off the
villagers,
military.
Killed a lot of the military, yeah. Still has a good amount of horsemen at the end of the day, but he lost a lot of his own military for it, and he's still far from aging up.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing, right? Is he's still really far behind his own age up. Meanwhile, the economic numbers, though, looking pretty good for Louis. We do see more deer getting picked up, however,
And
for
CsO sees, yeah, CsO sees the economic expansion down there to the south side.
The tricky thing for Louis is...
Eventually pull a board. There we go, board pull as well.
That was a good choice there. A tricky thing for Louis is, and it's not as tricky as it was when he was playing as China.
First villager
he will
kill
need to
for
be-
CsO.
First villager kill
Make
for
that
the
tin
boar.
potentially.
Oh, good micro there. Body blocked by the berries. However, that one villager needs to run somewhere. Boar just on a rampage. Ooh, that was close.
You did some good damage there. Good idle time force for sure. And yeah, you can see like Louis, he's just going into the mass camel archers now because they're just such a strong unit to have up against these armored units. When you only
One
have
thing
few
Louis done
armored
well.
units, they're like the camel archers just beat them.
Yeah,
Heavily.
that's the one good thing about having taken that engagement and clearing off of CSO's military was that now he can go into these camel archers and keep up with the numbers to where they're still effective at this point and gives them time. And just like that, a minute later, Louis is almost ready to go castle himself.
Yeah. CSO pretty much like close to half the economy that Louis has.
Like,
So
he's-
the window of opportunity, it's never even really been there, I want to say, for CSO so far. He managed to
he's
get
moving
in
out to
2
the gold.
relics.
needs those relics too because he's running out. His first gold vein is gone, so he's moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
After that, he's gonna have to move to the center of the map, and that's gonna become very tricky with Louis keeping up military numbers in mass and those camel archers. We were kind of memeing on them just a little bit, but they're proving pretty effective.
Oh,
so
not
far
memeing.
for him.
Yeah, definitely not memeing. They're really good in mass. It's just very expensive to get to them. But if you drag out Feudal Age like this, or rather, you can drag out Feudal Age just because of them. We still don't have any veterancy upgrades in for the Jugunu yet, so they're not quite as effective as they really need to be in the situation at the moment. Economic Wing now on its way for Louis.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of food in the bank right now. He needs to spend some more of that. He's spending some now.
We don't have any Pierce Armor upgrades, so these outposts and placements are going to do good damage even up against these knights. See, so researching melee armor at the moment instead of Pierce Armor. Maybe just because of the mass of horsemen, but there are a big number of camel archers out now at the moment. Ooh, the scouts are getting taken apart by a single
one
archer there
archer.
now.
Now that military wing feels very worth it.
Left.
Military wing was definitely worth it now, I'd say. Taking out those, denying some extra venison.
Got the value. And look at how many like arrow emplacements are coming in at the moment for Louis as well. Like he's just really hunkering down on these static emplacements, static defenses coming in for his base. Behind
Louis
this,
in a
Barrett's
really
getting
good
prepped for
spot.
some golems.
Oh, I'm gonna love to see the Gulam play. That's gonna be really fun to see. But look at the eco number, 77 to 45. It's almost doubled in favor of Louis now. And Louis, CSO's got 3 relics, but I don't know that 4 or even 5 relics matters when you're down by half the villager count.
Now going into Spearmen, we're also seeing failings coming in. Villagers getting idled out there. Just gonna run away from that deer spot. And oh my god, Louis, his main army is gonna catch off the reinforcements in the middle of the map. And you see the spearmen here?
Just picked apart.
Good against cavalry, but the camel archers, I don't know why. I don't know why. Every time I see it, it just doesn't make sense to me why the camel archers, with their mobility, do so much bonus damage to the spearmen. There we go. Okay, only a small hitch, but we're back here.
We're back.
Yeah. Castle Age is in for Louis. Veterancy upgrades are in. Camel archers with the veterancy upgrades now do a lot of damage. The base damage on these units is so high. They got bonus damage against the unarmored units. CsO, he's getting up a good mass of Jugunu up behind this. Dali Horse is also coming in. Jugunu now upgrade with veterancy. 5 relics and a sacred site. Louis, 38, almost 40 village elite.
Yeah, double
I
the
think there's
villagers
still a
almost.
window, though, for CsO.
Yeah, that's a lot of Lancers. If he can find a good spot to raid or take a good engagement, he's still definitely in this. If he doesn't, though,
gonna
the
need to,
window's
yeah.
going to close.
Oh, it's a lot of outposts with emplacements. It's not really a spot where you want to fight if you have the option. The question is, do you really have the option?
Yeah, meanwhile, Louis still just munching up on things. Wherever the army of CSO is, Louis just sends his villagers away and gets mining on the other spot. Looking to dive the base, though. That's a lot of Lancers. He just needs to get some damage done with it.
He's got 7 more Lancers in queue behind this as well.
Yeah, kind of an all-in play on this.
Fully on it. Horsemen now as well. Horsemen are great against the camel archers. They do a lot of damage. He moved out to the middle gold vein with a lot of villagers. That's where he's going to get a lot more gold in. Question is, for how long can he sustain this production? Like, the deer should also run out at some point.
Yeah, both players are going to have to think long-term about their food here in a minute. Lancers coming in, trying to take on this tower with the emplacement. That's going to go down pretty quickly.
Fortification was in queue. Yeah, fortification was in queue, but it's not going to go through.
A lot of berries right there, denying that food from Louis.
Not enough Shuganu in order to one-shot the camel archers, but fight is being taken now.
I don't know, these
horsemen, they're running onto the Shuganu.
Shuganu numbers falling quickly as the horsemen wrap around the back line. Meanwhile, Spears on the front line just dealing with all the Lancers. Phalanx doing its job.
So much range on the Spearmen, and all the Lancers are getting cleaned up.
That was a decisive blow from Louis. Suddenly, for CSO, you're sitting here going, what do we do now? The Spears coming in massively clutch for Louis.
Such an expensive army, not really something that you can easily remass. 17 out to 52 equal tech, I want to say. Economy, not so much. CSO managed to kill a lot of villagers behind this, but...
Getting pushed off the gold, though, yeah. Like, losing... You can kill a bunch of villagers. You can kill 14 villagers, but they're Abbasid villagers. I mean, Louis just prints them right back again. Yeah, things looking really good for Louis at the moment. Reclaiming that gold, too, is going to just really make things difficult for CSO. He's got a lot right now. In fact, he's got 2,000 gold. CSO sitting on so many passive resources at the moment. He's got 1,300 food. The
question is just what
gold, but nowhere
to make.
Yeah, there's just nothing to spend it on.
Oh man, yeah, this is difficult, right? Like, you wanna ideally like mass a ton of Shuganu, but it's then difficult up against the horsemen, right? And even the knights are not really that good of a front line. But Shuganu cost so much wood as well, and the food about to run out for CSO inside of his base, right? Like, can we take a quick look at the mill from CSO where all of his food gathering is on? Like, that is, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. We see the Jingnan Tower now coming in, Song Dynasty, so at least he can do a farm transition. Some small raids coming in, but these are still Feudal Age horsemen, so I don't do too much damage to these villagers.
Yeah, and with the wheelbarrow already activated, these villagers are pretty quick. In fact, they're just going to turn around and try and shank one of those horsemen. Still stays alive. But what do you do against the mass? It's 71 to 31.
It's very difficult, and I mean, now we're also seeing camel riders coming in, and those are just going to be able to deal with pretty much everything now.
I feel like this game's just kind of gotten out of hand for CSO. On that one engagement, too, he had a lot of Lancers there. They just could not find a good angle of attack. And then as the Spears started getting massed up by Louis, he just took an incredible engagement there. And now this game just feels over.
Yeah, long, slow feudal pushes with Abbasid. Like, there's not another civilization that can comfortably stay in Feudal Age for as long as the Abbasid can. Maybe French and JD with their knights, but even those, I want to say, don't want to stay that long in Feudal Age when up against the Abbasid. Just because, like, once you get to that point with felling spearmen, potentially boot camp in as well, lots of camel archers, you don't really have the tools to deal with that as any civilization.
CSO's got a good mass of Lancers once again, as well as 37 Jukes behind it. But I still wonder how he's going to answer the camel archers, because the Jukes just can't keep up with them. They're so
Imagine
quick.
Getting cavalry archers in Feudal Age.
Not only that, camel archers that give you a 20% debuff to cavalry. I mean, they're expensive, but he's had them out for so long now that the payoff has just really come to fruition. At this point, Louis just needs to find a way to start closing this game down a little bit.
Yeah.
CSO trying to stabilize, trying to maintain.
2,000 food per minute. Louis, he's at over 3,000 resource per minute. CSO, he's at roughly 2,000. And now losing villagers in a little bit as well. The camel archers are running rampant inside of the base. Fast attack speed. They attack faster than the Shuganu.
Yeah, they're just happy to camp into that base, just killing everything in their path. I mean, talk about camel unease. If I'm a villager, I'm feeling pretty uneasy too.
More villagers going down. Same time, fight's being taken over here. Doesn't feel like it's enough units anywhere.
No, spears getting around on the lancers. Lancers just dropping like flies. Camel archers still helping bring up the rear. And the horsemen just there to pick off the extra Jugunu. It just feels like everything that CSO has, Louis has an answer.
Yeah. Just can't really kite back fast enough against that. Most of the horsemen are gone now, though, so maybe in a choke point, CSO can still take a decent trade, but he's down half the economy that Louis has at the moment. Jugunu numbers are dwindling. There's no way for CSO to really start remaxing. Villagers are going to have to evacuate once again on the wood line, but I feel like if CSO loses this position, then he knows that it has to be over at this point in time for him, and GG comes in. Louis now taking a lead in game number 3.
Yeah, really making that feudal age work for him. And really, that once the gold ran out and Louis ran out of deer, things got really tough for CSO.
Yeah, once those deer are gone, like that, this is the entire matchup in a nutshell, right? Like you got this window of opportunity where your food income is going to be a lot better than your opponent's thanks to having all those deer supervised inside of your base. But if you can't kill your opponent in that time window, then it's only going to go downhill from there. Maybe a point could have made for, let's say, like mass palace guards and Jugunu there, just in order to deal with the big mass of spearmen, and also just be able to raid mobile.
The early horseman was such an interesting choice, but Louis really made it pay off in the end. He really chose a good time to dive, had the right numbers, there weren't enough jukes, was able to take care of them very well. Man, the value of that archer got on the pro scouts as well. But this fight here, right here, I think was the decider.
It should have been so much better.
The spears came in, and with the phalanx upgrade, just able to get on top of those lancers. Meanwhile, the horse wrapping back around behind, slashing through the Jugunu. It just felt like everything was getting countered for CSO.
Yeah, this is why I don't think like cavalry. It's so weird, right? Like in some aspects, you kind of need cavalry to be quick to do damage, but at the same time, up against the Abbasid with so many bonuses up against cavalry civilizations, it's just so tough. So I think maybe just an infantry slop comp could have been better, but then you lose out on mobility. Maybe if you just keep enough spearmen inside of your own base to defend, not have to rally your entire army back. But it's so difficult as well, because when you make mass spearmen, the camel archers, for some reason, they just do so much bonus damage. Like 3-4 of them one-shot a spearman, and they have more attack speed as well than a normal archer. It's so much. It's so many bonuses. Granted, the unit's expensive, but it doesn't even cost gold. If it costs gold, then sure, maybe. The camel riders cost 3 different resources, lots of stats on them, but I could rant about camel archers all day long. There are a couple of units I could rant about all day long, but that's for another time. So Louis able to win game number 3, and next up, oh my god! Speaking of bad matchups.
Ottomans versus French on Baldland.
I like making cavalry. I like that you like making cavalry. That's kind of the story here.
Yes, indeed. This will be a fun one. Baldland coming up. French, I mean, CSO with the heavy cav picks. Louis played a good series so far. I mean, both these players have, but Louis definitely showing why he's definitely someone to watch out for. Ottomans on Baldland. So what do you expect? How do you expect this one to play out?
So I think CSO is going to have to hard commit in Feudal Age, because that's the only age where he really has a sizable lead, a sizable advantage when it comes to the units that he has access to. Once Louis gets to Castle Age with Ottomans, when he's able to make janissaries, stuff like that, then it starts becoming really difficult. Obviously, there's also the military academy scaling factor coming in there. Like, that's the thing with Ottomans. They can really easily get to an army composition that has no counters once you get to janissaries, Sipahi, and Springles.
No, exactly. It's the Janissaries always. I feel like if you ever play French into Ottomans, the Janissaries always feel like just the straw that breaks the camel's back in the end. It's like, oh man, there's one more thing they've got going for them, because that button can be just pressed whenever that visitor point gets available. You just boom, suddenly your knights are getting countered from a distance, which never feels very good as the French.
That while archers do counter out Janissaries, at some point you kind of want to go into Castle Age units and Arbaletier. It used to be that any ranged unit does bonus damage to Janissaries. At the moment, it's only archers and camel archers, like normal cav archers, crossbows. They don't do bonus damage to Janissaries at all anymore. So once you go for like a more advanced unit composition, like you got to be making archers all game long, pretty much when you're up against Janissaries, which doesn't feel that great.
Yeah. Well, then the MIA comes out, and suddenly you've got mangonels being brought out for free, which doesn't feel good either. Not to mention the Sipahi.
It's just overall a pretty good matchup for Ottomans. So we're going to have to see, like, CSO probably knows the matchup. I'm quite sure that he knows the matchup, that he's played it a bunch of times. So maybe he's going to surprise us here with how he's going to play it. I think it has to be like a hunker down, go all in, feudal age, try and overwhelm type play. We're going to see it's going to be on board land. So at some point in time, like civilizations are going to have to move out for wood. There are these very large wood lines in the middle of the map. Until then, you only got small wood veins.
Yeah, that could be beneficial for French as we dive into our next game here. It's 2-1 as we jump into game number 4. CSO as the French in green, loueMT as the Ottomans in pink.
Dark Age barracks coming in. Players do kind of like luring deer at the moment, especially with Ottomans. You do get that very nice 50 wood discount on your initial barracks. Means so that Louis is gonna not go for a quick military school. Something else to keep in mind here. CSO, he's going for Dark Age wheelbarrow. If Louis just doesn't go for deer push or deer lure, but instead harasses the gold, this could be difficult for CSO as he's already invested over 100 gold into an upgrade now.
Yeah, and that spear is saying, no, I'm not a pro spear. I'm an attacking spear. I have no need for deer today. I have just a need for blood of my enemies. As he runs across the map, he's going to head straight to that gold. And that gold is like pretty much in the forward spot as well. So a little break for Louis here. That's going to be tough for CSO.
He's going to have to see this and immediately cancel wheelbarrow. I don't think there's a way for CSO to push wheelbarrow through once those spearmen arrive. Now up to 3 spearmen already.
Does he cancel? It's almost
What's the reaction going to be? Yeah, he canceled.
He does.
Great play.
That was close too. He almost ran out of time to do so.
Yeah. And now, I mean, he can't immediately go for Pro Scouts now, but that's okay. And even if Louis burns down this mining camp, it's not the end of the day, just because it's French. 25 wood instead of 50 wood for one of these drop-off buildings. There's no better civilization to deal with this than French now in this situation.
French counts that as just a rounding error in the ledgers of how many resources they have. Yeah, I like the play, though.
Cancel now, and H-Up's going to be a good timing, and then just archers, and then go for knights from there on out. This is fine for CSO, honestly.
You know, you almost wish that Louis, it would almost been more optimal if he'd have gotten there just a couple seconds later.
And the potential deny here on the deer lure. CSO spots it.
1 buck goes down. 2 bucks go down. Actually, that was a doe, but you know.
A buck, a doe. Anything counts.
That's like, that's like 500 food right there. So, yeah.
Yeah. With the scout. Yeah, CSO able to already like delay or lame 3 of the deer there. Louis also, is he luring with another spearman? Doesn't look like he is at the top side. No, those deer also got lamed.
I can't stop thinking about what would have happened if Louis would have gone in just a little later. Like imagine 20 seconds later.
Oh,
into
he's
that
camping
gold.
on the. Yeah, he's camping on the gold vein.
When minaret goes up, no surprise.
Yeah, good amount of food that you get with that one. So you can like this landmark pretty much means that you can make a lot more Sipahi with all the bonus food that you're getting. Just Sipahi are very expensive food wise, but they're such an efficient unit to have in mass, able to take down pretty much just about anything.
Yeah, Sipahi are one of those like horseman units that feel really good. Like basic horsemen sometimes don't always feel great, but Sipahi have just always felt very good to use.
Yeah.
Immediate archer
Bonus
range
HP,
coming up
bonus
for
damage,
CSO.
bonus range. Just a very solid package. And now Louis, he's back to luring the deer, but it's a sad deer camp now.
Yeah. Semi-professional spears.
Yeah. Instead of 2.5k food, you're bringing back 1.5k. The missus ain't gonna be too happy about that.
Still value. Sheep getting dropped off here. It's going to be pro scouts, looks like. That's the second scout that came out, so I would expect CSO to be trying to gather some venison of his own here.
Could also try and go back to deny that deer luring over there. Because Ottomans, they also get a very, very good age of timing if they manage to lure in the deer. Yeah, he just wants to make sure that there's no deer luring going on, because he will want to secure those deers later on. Third archer now coming as well.
That one spear sitting on that mining camp has done enough to keep CSO off the gold this entire time.
Yeah.
Just now got back onto it. So no night. That does deny and delay the night play from CSO for some time, which we were mentioning with Ottomans is so critical that French needs to get in there and mess up their economy as soon as possible. So really good play for Louis, getting some big returns out of the Dark Age barracks.
I think we're also seeing a play now into military schools from Louis. This is a big investment. 250 resources for each and every single one of these, and they do take quite a while to pay off. This is also gonna pretty much mean that this isn't gonna be as quick of a fast castle play from Louis. He's gonna have to really play the age now in Feudal Age.
Yeah, I wonder if he was emboldened by the early success he had with that barracks to maybe go for the military schools as well. It is kind of like playing with fire, though. You don't want to let French get ahead of you somehow. First visitor point almost ready to go.
Yeah, and we will see Sipahi coming in from those military schools. Makes a lot of sense, just getting free Sipahi in, as they are an expensive unit. Feels pretty good.
Sounds like it was Anatolian Hills, if my ears don't deceive me. Or Louis with the vizier point.
We do have the tools to see that, but yeah, that's a lot of sheep. That paints you the picture. Anatolian Hills is in 15% bonus gather speed now as well on those gold villagers. Second military school coming in as well.
Louis definitely angling towards a feudal play here. Must be feeling really confident knowing that his opponent's going... He must be feeling really confident that CSO is playing for professional scouts and that he doesn't have any knights really on the field besides just one or two. So maybe he's just feeling really good that he's denied that. So there's no immediate danger of getting overwhelmed early. And so maybe he's saying, yeah, we can hang in feudal.
CSO adding in a couple of his own spears, going for the 1-1-1 army composition. That's something that you really want to do when up against the Ottomans, just because their Sipahi are almost as efficient as knights. So you will actually need some spearmen at least in order to deal with that. You can't just purely rely on your own knights for that.
Yeah, it's
pretty. Or at least you're going to have a really hard time with that. Yeah. The question is now, is Louis just going to, is he going to make more units? Is it... Yeah, I think he's also actively starting to make Sipahi now. He does have a lot of food. He is starting to bank a lot of gold as well. I'm not sure if he's just going to go straight for a castle age up now, on the back of just 6 spearmen and 2 military schools. He is. He's adding the outpost. That's a dead giveaway.
That definitely gives us away that we're going to be seeing a castle age play from Louis. He's going to look to deny those pro scouts. He's got the spears sitting on the venison. And then Knights of CSO coming around, taking a look. He's going to see immediately that outpost going up and know that that's exactly what Louis is trying to do. So that should at least give up the plot to CSO. He'll know what's up. Goes for a dive on the villagers. Gets a hit. Doesn't get any kills just yet. Maybe one goes down. Nice little run through by CSO to pick up a villager.
Yeah, gets a villager and most importantly gets the information. That juicy prime knowledge. That's what it's all about in the end. Scouts still venison coming in.
Another dive, another villager, probably going to go down. Sure enough, another pickup. And this is exactly what CSO needs to do. He needs to ramp this up to a 10, however. That knight, a little bit low.
Gets away.
Gets away.
And he's already got the resource he needs for chivalry, so is able to preserve that knight. Wrap a bandage around that.
This is where the game gets kind of exciting.
These spears do not let up.
No, they don't. They're just going to chase him into oblivion. That knight's going to deal with his spear. These two spears are probably going to kill each other here in just a second. They're going to mutually both die
Age
at
up
the
is
same
right
time.
around the corner, though, for Louis, so he's working on that. And free Sipahi, I mean, there.
Ooh, CSO
they can be
Spear
used.
reigns victorious as a champion. Get that guy a medal. And now Knights equal in number to
Spearman,
spears.
no brace. Oh, you
One
need to be
spear
so
goes
careful,
down.
though.
That knight goes down. Ooh, and a second one close
yeah.
behind. Barely gets away with his life. Not a great little
No, you
engagement
really
from
want
CSO.
chivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but behind this Mammoth Imperial Armory now, the age up on the way for Louis, and he's going to start getting a lot more passive stuff for free. Not just units, but now also siege. Sipahi hitting the lone scout out there. Spearman from CSO just died up on the top berries. Not sure, do we have chivalry in yet? I think CSO also is starting to prep now for age up. He does have 2 knights in queue, but still has resources left in the bank. Outpost going up. Yep, he does want to secure that gold vein now as well. But this is where it starts becoming awkward for the French. Chivalry now in queue, so we'll be able to heal up the knights now. But yeah, with the age up, it starts becoming awkward because you have an inherent advantage as French.
Ooh, most gets away. That villager low.
Oh, he
manages.
gets it. Does he get away? Does he get
No.
away? He does not. But Sipahi will pay for his life
gives
with
his
that.
life to do it. Yeah. Was that? I mean, would you trade a Sipahi for a villager?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, French, they do get more villagers overall, but like Sipahi is a free unit in that situation, so you definitely want to trade it out. You get them in for free. Now we're getting more Sipahi. Should also be getting some knights potentially. We don't have a play yet onto any of the relics. Louis also starts to add in more spearmen as well behind this. It's just going to be Sipahi and spearmen in combination with like sprinkled army composition. That could actually work. It's weird, but that could actually work because you do have something against every single unit. Get the Sipahi up against the ranged units, get the spearmen up against the knights, and then the sprinkleds up against your opponent's spearmen.
CSO.
You definitely have a response for everything.
Here. It's going to take a while for him to get the gold, though. He needs another minute to get the gold. Trying to keep those knight numbers going.
Yeah, I feel like he needs to be a little bit more active with the knights. He does have a small group running around the back of his opponent's base. Now, that's where the woodcutters are, the lumberjacks. So we do see a small little raiding force there consisting of 2 knights. Maybe getting a villager kill there. And the woodline's very thin at the moment.
Runs right past
so
him.
He finds it.
And hit 2. I don't know if any of those are going to go down.
Oh,
Maybe
he didn't
1.
get a charge.
No charge. Spears
going to go for
immediately
it?
running in defense.
Yeah, no charge.
Yeah,
Get
not
that point
quite
blank charge
a lot
in
of
there.
value. Another solo battle happening down in the south. Who wins this one? Nope. Mutual destruction. We call that a draw.
Yeah, that's a fair draw. They're going to meet again next weekend. Maybe
He'll
not.
be back. Meanwhile, Guildhall coming up for
fine joust,
CSO.
Wilhelm.
Oh, excellent indeed, my good man. Good stab, mate.
Same time next week. Raiding force from Louis, posturing in front of CSO space. Just a couple of the Sipahi. I mean, Sipahi at this point in time, still such a good raiding force, putting on so much pressure here on CSO. Good amount of HP there. They're pretty much like feudal age knights at this point in time with their stats.
Yeah. Sipahi is such a fun unit. At this point, CSO now aging up to Castle Age, so he'll be looking to get some of those tech ups. He doesn't have a ton of gold coming in. He's got that 1 gold vein. I'm trying to think about what he's going to do after that. He's got
He's got a
2
bottom
gold
gold
veins.
vein there. Yeah,
Got a bottom gold.
He's got units there.
I'm just trying to think of what CSO's plan is long term, because as we mentioned, if you don't hit hard, hit fast, as French into Ottomans, it feels like Ottomans just start getting away with it, right? They start running away. The military schools start really getting in the value. We've already got a couple of relics in for Louis. Has he had a second
he went for the vizier
yet?
point.
Did he go for the imams?
Yeah, he went for the imam vizier point. That's how he got the relics in that quickly. 2 of them already in.
That's a good one.
Gonna
That's such a good.
Oh yeah, he's getting 4 relics in at least.
That's gonna really, really just propel his eco late game. And moreover, it's not so much getting it for yourself; it's just the denial. Meanwhile, that same wood line just being well defended by Louis. Knight's unable to get in there. Sipahi taking a look at the gold. Not going to be able to do anything much with that because the tower and spears are there.
Nightfall's trying to look for raids.
It gets tricky because eventually, as the Ottomans get built up, villagers matter a little bit less with all the military schools giving them passive production.
Exactly.
So yeah, you might
at this point
pick
in
off
time,
one or two,
like,
but it's not enough.
Yeah, Louis in theory has more effective economy going for him at the moment compared to CSO, just because of all the passive production and the supply mass here. Not something that you can deal with just a couple of archers, knights, and 2 spearmen.
Yeah, the sheer numbers are overwhelming there.
Well.
They honestly could almost turn and take this fight and probably win it with the meta there to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks about it. He thinks about it,
The
but he's still running
reinforcement
back.
knights.
Oh, he must have seen us
Over
coming
there.
in. Looking for a pinch. Gets the pinch. Nice little dive right there. CSO with a good charge.
Units, though.
Yeah, nothing goes down, though. Not even the meta. He'd love to at least pick off the meta if he can. Maybe. It's just a little too much speed. Knights still tick
And there's
slower.
the AoE healing imams as soon as Louis gets back to the base. So all the damage that CSO did there to these units, basically void.
I like the breakaway of the one knight to go take a look at the deer down there. One thing CSO has for him is he is banking, obviously, resources behind this with the guild hall, but you don't really want to go into an Imperial Age fight with Louis. As we see an engagement happening middle of the map here, spears trying to chase after the knights. They're split into 2 groups.
Lots of idle
that
time.
group running away. Idle time, yes, and being caused. Some springles on the field behind this. It just feels like that's a prickly porcupine. But meanwhile, on to the villagers in the wood. A couple go down, I think. No, maybe just a bunch of damage.
Just one. Only a single one did go down. Ooh, Scout's having a hard time bringing those deer carcasses back.
And it feels like CSO's got nothing going. He's trying his hardest to get in there and do some damage. Just isn't getting very lucky with this.
Now? Yeah, keep now inside of CSO's base. Wants to get that discount. But the villagers, they're going to have to be really, really careful there.
A lot of Sipahi. There are a lot of knights in the vicinity as well. Does spook them away. I don't know if Louis saw that keep going up yet.
I think he did, or at least he saw a lot of villagers suddenly walking forward. He should have a good idea of what's going on there at the moment. Louis is moving out onto the economy on the map, going out onto the berries.
Well,
obviously a point just came in.
Is your point
I'm guessing that's going to be for an additional military school now.
That'd be my guess. Because he doesn't really need he doesn't even really need janissaries at this point or anything either. He's doing really well with these spears and Sipahi.
That's the thing. Like, this army composition deals with everything.
Right into the spears they go. Spears don't get the charge though. Don't get the brace against the knights.
Spearmen, they're out of position. It's too few spearmen to take a fight there.
Reinforcements coming to trying to group up. That'll be enough to scare away CSO for the time being. Meanwhile, Sipahi cleaning up a knight that's left out.
Yeah, he found himself at the wrong end of the neighborhood. Yeah, we're up now on 4 military schools for Louis and the Mehmet Imperial Armory. CSO is still trying to go for raids, just needs to make sure that these knights don't reveal themselves by getting too close to any of these buildings. He could find a good resource there to hit.
You know, he'd love to find a good spot to raid
Louis
something.
Knows. Louis realizes CSO pulls a couple of units back, just for later, you know?
In
case later on he might want to hit that raiding spot again.
A couple of sneaky knights hoping to find something. He needs to find something. The vill kills this game are actually very low overall, 1 to 3. Not a lot of damage, just mostly military back and forth.
So careful now with the knights. Might want to just run onto the siege.
Ooh, this is dangerous for Louis. Springolds getting wrapped around. Ooh, a lot of weak Springolds. 1, 2, 3 go down in quick succession as the knights now get out of dodge with the spears trying to find them.
Yeah, but he lost a lot of knights for it as well, and the Springolds were free. And now a second TC behind all of this for Louis. But CSO does see this. He's going to get a nice little additional charge in there.
I don't think he killed a single vill on that, though.
Yeah, he couldn't. He couldn't stick around.
That's been the story of this game. That's been the story of this game for CSO. He has tried time and time and time again to get a raid, to get a charge off. He does the charge, then just can't get that follow-up hit. We do see 8 villager kills suddenly pop up now. Something somewhere is getting raided right at the moment. I think there's knights on the wood line in the back.
That was just during the battle, like on the Springolds.
During the battle?
To kill a couple of villagers.
A couple more weak villagers. That's so many weak vills.
CSO, is he trying? It looks like he's trying to go up to Imperial Age behind this now. He's got the gold for it. He's got the guild hall.
Yeah, guild hall up to 1260
he's got the rest
now.
there. Still tough for him to deal with all of these Apai, like this Apai and the mass. Able to deal with knights, actually. Got a little fight there.
Last relic just got dropped in. Meanwhile, Sipahi trying to take over these knights. That's enough Sipahi there. I think they actually can take this fight, I think, if they want, even with reinforcements coming in. Now maybe it's a little dicier. He's going to back off now and head back to base.
Yeah. Louis still working on the walls. His food economy is actually really bad at the moment for Louis. He didn't have a lot of villagers working there. He's going to need to drop some farms now. There aren't that many berries remaining. He's still got the one. Actually, he's got the berries in the back there as well. Never mind, he's fine. Enough berries. But Red Palace is now coming in, securing the large gold vein at the top side and the small one.
That's a lot of gold. That's going to really help. Yeah, that's going to really help late game. I like these walls by Louis. He's going to be secured himself a lot of room to grow for a while now with that. Not to mention he also kind of gets that gold vein right there. He's walled around. Now, with a Imperial Age play, this could really give CSO a timing, because Louis is still a ways away. Needs to get some kind of transition going. Meanwhile, Knight's getting caught out, however, by Sipahi. If CSO can... He's down a lot of military. If he can maybe make this Imperial Age work for him somehow. He's got to be careful, though, because he doesn't want Louis to walk all over him. At this point, Louis is going to get a lot of passive resources, essentially through his military production, those military schools. And so, even though he may not have a ton of food, it won't hurt him as bad as other civs, because he's just going to have passive units being popped out.
Yeah. And now that CSO is up in Imperial Age, you might think, okay, Louis might just want to take some fights now because his opponent just spent a lot of resources on Imperial Age. You cannot. Because the Red Palace emplacements affect not just the Red Palace, but also other keeps and the TCs. So you just cannot raid now. You will lose your units.
At this point, he's only a minute away from Imperial. Yeah, he's only a minute away from Imperial.
He actually suddenly rallied up his economy very quickly.
Yeah, I think he's just moved out onto all those food resources that he had inside his base, all those berries, all the deer. He just kind of sent everything out on top of that, and now we see 1,600 a minute. That's double the income of what CSO has. At this point, CSO needs to start thinking about what his food is going to look like long term. I don't think he's made much of a farm transition yet.
I'll quickly shout out that for how active this game has been so far, the destruction value is pretty even between the two players.
He breaking down the door and send one in. Meanwhile, the Knights coming in to defend. Looks like they've already been upgraded.
Yeah, a lead already in on those. We're also immediately getting the line of sight upgrade on those scouts. So if we quickly check CSO's line of sight, those scouts, they see a lot.
They see everything. There's the Istanbul Observatory coming up. So Louis is going to match that timing. Look at how much the
scout sees. He sees all the way into Louis' base just from torching down the gate there. It's kind of
nothing's
hidden. How much vision you get.
Basically has a satellite GPS working for him now above this.
It's a walking...
still a minute away from
Imperial
Age Up, however.
Palace. Yeah, I mean, that could be an issue. Like, once you get up to Imperial Age and you suddenly unlock the... well, you could unlock it earlier, but once you unlock the ability to make Janissaries from your military schools, and you just have that on for a little bit, and you know, you don't really pay too much attention to that. Suddenly you have like 20 Janissaries in your army composition as well. Or you just, you know, redeem a Vizier point and pop out 10 at a moment's notice. That also works.
Yeah, whenever he does, it's going to feel so bad for CSO. I hate that. And in fact, we see some Janissaries right there. He might have just... Yeah. Did he just do that a little bit ago? Or is that...
He literally just... No, it was literally just 10 seconds
All right.
ago.
So there's the Janissaries coming out. That's just like insult to injury. Those things are just exactly what he needs to deal with some of these now elite knights that are in the base trying to get some damage. But there we see the first shots being shot from the Janissaries.
Yeah, and the knights, they don't want to stand around there. One knight, just one volley. That's all it takes.
This is like a worst nightmare for a knight, right? You got a bunch of spears and Janissaries behind that. No, thank you.
A nightmare, you say?
Oh, gosh. I'll see myself out.
Some small little raids there. Able to pick up 2 villagers there. Yeah, see, so he's got to really start thinking about his army composition. He's getting a lot of economy upgrades behind this, so he does still want to scale in the economy game. Even on 1 TC, thanks to the power of French TCs, has been able to keep up with the 2 TC play from Louis, but Louis has the relics. CSO has the map control, though, at least when it comes to securing that top large gold vein. Oh, Sapai now
Meanwhile,
lead it up as well.
The knights are more cost efficient, I suppose, but 80 to 59 military lead in favor of Louis. The villager number is dead even at 82 and 82. But again, with 5 relics and the passive production from the military schools, I'm really curious what CSO is going to do long term for food. I'm waiting to see that food transition come into play.
Mass knights. It looks like CsOH just wants to go for mass knights. We're now also seeing great bombards coming in for Louis. Just passively through the Mehmet the armory. Couple random imams getting picked off there.
Nice little raid right there.
Good raids on both sides here. So CSO's doing a great job of just pulling Louis' army apart into different groups, which is going to make microing them hard and just overall keeping up with what's going on. Now into a third group as well. It's going to start becoming difficult for Louis to keep up.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty happy he's got these farms behind. But those palisade walls in the Imperial Age are basically just speed bumps. They're not really walls at this point, right? He would need something more substantive, maybe some stone walls, but you're not going to invest into that. Yeah. So this is kind of where CSO those knights. Yeah, it gives him time to relocate his military in place to defend.
See more siege coming in.
That great bombard almost ready to come out.
Yeah, if we get to a point of like 3 great bombard emplacements, it's going to be really tough for CSO. At that point, like once you get a lot of these great bombards in, it's basically a no infantry allowed army composition.
Cleaning up these knights, doing a good job of just catching them right when the wall is open. Like I said, speed bump, just enough time for them to get over there. A couple knights go down.
A couple of spearmen trade out there. Couple raids here and there. Army split off. Find some villages on the gold veins.
I mean, 44 elite knights with royal bloodlines is nothing to sneeze at, as we see some more pickups happening here for CSO as he raids the back gold. The tricky thing is you're just going against 52 spears and 35 Sipahi with 10 Janissaries and more siege and stuff behind. So it's hard to stay too long and fight.
Yeah. I think denying gold overall is very instrumental for CSO, as he just cannot allow Louis to build up a big mass of Janissaries in this game. He's already got 10 just from the Vizier point, and we did just see them, together with Spears, just absolutely butcher these knights. You're gonna need a lot of knights in order to, like, take a decent, even just semi-decent engagement here. And CSO, he is committed. He is committed to making a lot of knights in this game. That's a lot of Sipahi, though. Yeah, they don't care about the outpost. They can burn down.
Yeah, that thing's going to turn into basically a match as it just gets ignited immediately. He actually runs right past the village. Hello? Goes, oh, wait, never mind. Can't forget the
now they're being turned to Swiss cheese.
You know, look at the overall numbers of units, however. It's 200 max supply for Louis versus 155, now 154 for CSO. Late game, you want that to be 200.
Pretty even. Actually ahead for CSO. It's very difficult to judge.
Yeah, it's tricky though.
Fight there.
Janissaries will clean that up easily enough.
Pew pew. This is a fight the knights can take. They're running to the TC, get the Red Palace in placement. Doing some damage there as well.
And they turn into
actually the army there is a little bit. The army at the top side is a little bit out of position for Louis. That's a lot of knights at the top side. That's a fight that CSO can take. He surrounds the spearmen. He surrounds the Janissaries.
Remember, these are elite
that's what he needs to
bloodlines. And yeah, that's gonna be cleaned up. Those knights getting a lot of value.
This is what he needs to do. Like pull the armies into like smaller groups that he can then devour outside of the base.
And this is where these knights excel, right? He doesn't need a ton of them, and they can easily overwhelm anything with equal numbers.
Oh, but behind this, Louis killed a lot of villagers.
15 to 21 villager kills now in the game. More going down.
Now, though.
18.
Yeah, now with the second TC at least, it's not that bad for CSO. Red Palace also doing a good amount of damage here. I think Louis is actually staying around for a little bit too long. I mean, he's still finding value here and there, but the Red Palace did just take down a good chunk of these Sipahi there. Another one goes down.
I think he overstayed his welcome just a little too much there. If CSO were to start walling in and securing his stuff and getting the Sipahi out of here, he'd be in a pretty okay spot right now. He seems to be almost fully online. Farms coming in for both sides. Meanwhile, CSO knocking down the front door again. Already has knights behind this. Goldville's running for the hills.
think Louis just put up a couple of stone walls at the bottom side, so it's easy safe there, but more knights coming in now. I think he's doing it. Look at the army value now. That's a huge difference, and a lot of it is in siege, which is kind of just sitting there. Oh no, it's sitting
bombard's
there.
not long for this world. It's going to be surrounded. There. Knights on top of it. Hop goes the weasel. There it goes. Springald's next. Getting the surround, pinching them. And that's the entire value of Louis' military. Just eradicated into splinters.
He's doing it. This matchup. Yeah, I mean, he's just making knights.
It's the fact that he secured gold for himself, right? He has the long-term gold.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how he managed to get enough food out of all this. I guess the map control was just enough. There is a lot of food on this map, I suppose. Meanwhile, Sipahi trying to deal with it, but the knights, they are just so difficult. Remember, these are Sipahi. They are not knights unto themselves. Against Royal Bloodlines elite knights, they're not going to do good in equal numbers. Meanwhile, knights in the back of the base. Vills, open for the picking. It's open season time.
Louis hasn't really opted into really making a lot more Janissaries so far. I'm wondering why, because he doesn't really have anything else to spend his gold on at the moment.
Yeah, you get the feeling that would have been so huge for the cost efficiency, right? Because those units are so good. Mix that with spears, and he'd be doing fine.
Janissaries are cheap as well. Like, for a hand cannoneerish unit, they're insanely cheap to make. 160 resource, that's cheaper than Streltsy. And so much more efficient against cavalry.
At this point, CsOH making some really, really efficient trades here. The population numbers now 148. Louis was max popped for a while there, and now CsOH has brought it down to the point where it's even.
Yeah.
But the army value definitely in lead for CsOH now.
He has to be careful. Doesn't want to, like... He took great fights so far, great trades there with the military. He just needs to make sure he keeps taking bad trades, because one bad trade could be the worst for him here, but never mind, he finds the villages in the wood line. Wood is very limited on this map and just cleans it all up.
They're all
Goodbye,
gone.
villagers.
All dead. No one even to tell their stories.
There's archers
the
here as
spears
well.
that look on.
The archers can actually, like, snipe down the Janissaries, get some really good trade out up against the Janissaries. Just trading out, just not being micro at the moment, but I mean, it's dangerous. It's there. There's a potential for the archers.
70 villager kills, the value is already found, and more coming as the farms aren't safe either. Suddenly CsOH feels like he's running away with this game.
He is. He's just everywhere inside of the base from Louis. Louis now below 60 villagers. And the knights, they just ignore the units. They just run around. They're like, oh, you got villagers over here? I'll take that. Oh, you want to fight me? Nah, maybe another time.
There's still over 54 knights on the field to play. At this point, they're just trading even with the spears.
CsOH as well.
Yeah, he's got that full discount going on all the production buildings with the keep. So he's getting basically, 20% more knights.
Yes. Good rate, though, from Louis at the same time. Able to kill additional, like, what was that, 10 villagers?
Yeah, good pickup there. He needs everything he can get because this game is quickly about to get out of hand.
This.
Can he survive? Is there a way where Louis survives this?
There is. Like, if he's able to get the stone walls in, just delay CsOH from finishing him off in the situation.
I mean, again, the beauty of this is that he does have those military schools, so villagers matter, but he does have production either way. Tricky thing is he can keep up with enough to keep up with the amount of French knights that are still in play, as they're just rocking circles around the base of Louis.
At this point, like, did CsOH's keyboard break and he can only make knights at this point? Just everything but the W key? Then again,
the W key is the only thing he's got left. W and A.
Yeah,
he can W and then A move him in.
Layout. It's probably Chinese layout, so something else. But yeah, it's non-functional keyboard at this point in time. It's just knights. Look at how much stone he has as well. 3,000 stone. He can drop a bunch more keeps and just, like, drop keeps inside of his opponent's base. He might not want to do that, though, just because there's great bombards. He's actually, like, as observers point out, he had the guild hall on stone for a while.
It looks like he cashed that out. 3,000 in the bank. Enough to build. Gosh, how many keeps did that build you? 3 keeps right off the bat? And some change?
Never forget that French also had some discounted, so keeps are a bit cheaper for French.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Knights taking another pass in the base. The stone walls still aren't up, so these knights are still having access to the backside of Louis' base. More walls coming up. It's just turning into an onion with all the layers being filled up.
Yeah.
But it's not enough. Villagers quick wall, but they trap themselves with the knights.
And now we're seeing a transition into horsemen. I think late game, oh my god, he's also denying the wall off with the keep now. But the Great Bombards should be just rallied forward now.
Look at the disparity in villager number to military number. 102 villagers for CSO, but only 53
it's not
for
the
Louis.
villagers that provide Ottomans with the military.
Military, 99 military for Ottomans, 59 for the French. That's kind of my point too, right? It's like the villagers matter, but not as much for Ottomans. But that military number is up in mass now for them, as a big engagement happens here right in front of the base.
That's hard to judge, but I want to say, is he taking? He's winning it, but no, the reinforcements are coming in. That CSO maybe overstaying his welcome there. Maybe. Hey, it's 55 spearmen. There's no way.
They're definitely going to clean that up.
Horseman on the Great Bombard. He's going to get one down, maybe. He's not going to get any up. They're so tanky.
Soldiers
they're just getting out-repaired. How did they out-repair? Oh my god, these things are tanky, dude.
That was like 3 vills too. It wasn't even that many. That health came right back up in an instant.
And it was completely surrounded by horsemen. Grant, they weren't up in age, but it's like you don't
these bombards
need to be
right on the villagers, perhaps.
Could.
Did he hit the?
Any shots here?
Okay, I'm wondering if he's gonna hit.
No, he went for the keep.
I would have just hit the vills and then hit the keep.
He's hitting the villagers that are repairing the keep indirectly.
They're getting some, projectile, some flak fire off of that.
The issue is now gold is starting to run out. We'll see. So, look at the map. There, this large gold vein here, that was the last of its kind. And now see, so he's got to go into the budget French army composition. Mass horsemen and arbaletier. Also adding in spearmen. Yeah, he's really running out of gold. He's feeling it now.
Yeah, this becomes kind of problematic for him now. I almost wish he'd made a transition to men-at-arms. And just...
I wish he would have taken the 60
men-at-arms and taken it. Or,
imagine if he had the sacred sides 10 minutes ago with some keeps there as well.
Well, the golden come to play plus the timer.
It's the issue with Ottomans. It's just so hard to kill them, to just be dead.
105 villager kills, and he's still cranking out units. Yeah, the military schools do so much value.
Yeah, I think Louis is starting to feel fine here. 74 spearmen now at this point in the game.
That is insane. Janissary's still doing some good work. Looks like he is producing Janissaries now, which has been, I think, a big difference, right? Because you were saying originally he wasn't making them, and now that he is producing Janissaries, really seeing the difference.
CSO is now making mass archers. The difficulty with that is, even mass archers against 3 Great Bombards, Great Bombards, they just absolutely annihilate anything that's infantry with their AoE. You can never clump up. And even line formation is dangerous.
Yeah, it feels like once you get 3 Great Bombards on the field, the game kind of shifts for the Ottomans. It starts feeling a little bit more inevitable.
Certainly does. Now the keep is going down. We had a lot of them, but we're about to have very few. 130 military out for loueMT. Who needs eco pop when you can have military pop now? 200 completely maxed. 142 military population if you count the siege. CSO, he's almost pop cap, but he's nowhere near that military army count. The archers are still vetted. No elite in.
Feels like this might be the beginning of the end for CSO. Yeah, the gold is gone. And now he's left just scrambling to figure out what to do next. And here come the bombards. This just feels like a death blow. They're going to take that keep out. Then you're going to lose the 20%. That one ram's not going to do enough to get through the walls as that keep now takes the first shots. Meanwhile, the archers trying to push back the spears. Really, Louis just needs to sit on these bombards and just take the production down slowly. Keep goes down in quick succession.
In front of CSO's base.
And now the archers taking huge hits.
The infantry ball. It's just that was one, maybe 2 Great Bombard shots. It's just
another shot.
So much AoE.
It's like a bowling ball into a bunch of pins, right? They're just getting
it's
scattered
like a
for a strike.
Crack, dude.
It really is.
I'm not sure what that... Oh my god. No, that's the most offensive thing you can do in this situation. The forward palisade walls to wall in your siege. No, CSO, he can never engage on these bombards again.
Louis securing this victory for himself easily now. After a hard-fought battle, it all becomes... It's amazing how when you start winning like this, it just becomes so easy, right? It goes from so difficult, so hard, to the point where then it just becomes easy. And then once it becomes easy, you know game's over. You got this. As now the base of CSO getting torched and torn to shreds brick by brick as the great bombards just keep doing their thing. One goes down, but who needs 4 when you've already got 3?
I wonder, like, even 10 minutes ago, what could you have... I mean... I want to say, like, what could you have done as CSO? The answer is kept the sacred sites like 20 minutes ago and win 10 minutes ago, but yeah. This is rough now.
Now the only question remains is will we go above or below 40 minutes here, as we are at 39.5 minutes into this game and it looks pretty much over.
He's trying to snipe out the reinforcements. Zapahi. Louis now, his economy is starting to look better than CSO does. 5 relics definitely help there as well. As Louis pretty much hasn't been on gold for a while within like the last, I want to say 20 minutes. It's all just been passive income from the relics that's been keeping him above water.
Really felt like that was it, right? Now he's got 41 horsemen. He's got all the horses in the world. You just can't put any armor on him anymore. Can't build the knights. Yeah. DC almost down now.
Right now, he's just trying to get one last large army out there. He still has a massive economic lead. It's just that military-wise, like it feels like he actually needs to elite like 60 villagers and get equivalent army mass out in order to have any semblance of a chance in this next fight.
It's like at this point, your opponent's fully stonewalled in, so even if you tried for a go-for-broke landmark snipe, it doesn't seem like it would work. It doesn't leave you a lot of options with 3 great bombards just sitting there destroying your base.
And this little wall segment expansion bit by bit.
It's almost toxic.
It's like the almost. I wouldn't go that far as to say only almost, but yeah, it reminds me of the scene in 300 where you just... They're hiding behind the shields, but the shields are the walls in this situation. And now a fight is coming in. CSO, he's trying to attack from all different angles. Archer's trying to do damage as well. It's the last landmark that's alive. Red Palace is being repaired. But the walls, the horsemen, they just can't get to the great bombards. He's trying his best. Repairs coming in. The villagers are getting pulled. Let me in. Let me in. I gotta take the great bombards out, but he can't. He can't get to them, and GG comes through. Louis now with the 3rd point on the scoreboard, 3-1 up against CSO. Man, this is really tough for him now. I mean,
we went from knights running around his base, killing everything in sight, to suddenly bombards shredding his opponent's base instead. What a comeback win! What a back and forth game. Really, it was just back and forth, right? I mean, Louis looking good early, then CSO kind of bringing it back, then Louis coming back again to close things out late in the game. Gosh, great bombards in mass are just one scary force.
Yeah, man, this is just rough. The military schools, the army composition, this is like the main difficulty. I think maybe CSO, yeah, I really wish he went for the sacred sites earlier. And then maybe if you go for archers with the attack range upgrade, with incendiary arrows, maybe then you can actually take some decent trades there. You gotta just get away from that knight composition. It was great while it lasted. CSO got a ton of value in, but there just was no backup play. Sure, you kill the villagers, but even without villagers, Ottoman is not dead yet, and we saw it perfectly in this game.
Yeah, I don't know that he torched enough buildings, right? If he had maybe found a way to take down those military schools, he could have maybe solidified that value he earned. But when your opponent's just spewing out free trash units at quick speed, your knights are going to run out of gold, and eventually you can't keep it up, and the charade kind of falls apart. But for a while there, I mean, it felt like CSO had Louis on the ropes. I mean, this right here, we're looking at that snipe of the siege. He did that a couple times to Louis, where he got in and got all the siege wiped off the map. But unfortunately for him, running out of gold and losing out on the knights is all it took for Louis to bring this one back.
Yeah. Oh, man. What a crazy game. What a crazy game.
200
so much back and forth. And it was all action-packed throughout. It wasn't like we had any downtime at all in this game. It was action from minute 1.
Oh, yeah, we had Dark Age aggression. So, I mean, we literally from minute 1, we were going ham.
Yeah. And yeah, as you mentioned, like it felt like CSO almost did it in this matchup, but turns out you kill 100 villagers. Wasn't the
It doesn't
villagers that you were
matter.
meant to kill? Yeah, you were meant to kill the buildings.
Yeah, I feel like this is one where CSO is going to really want this one back, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe he should have had a plan for what to do when the gold ran out. Maybe he should have had a plan on how to finish the game. Because that was kind of tricky, because he couldn't quite finish it. He could do so much damage.
Yeah.
But against Ottomans, it just doesn't matter late enough in the game when those military schools are fully online.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. But looking forward, we're not quite done yet. There is still the chance for CSO to get some more points on board and potentially win the series. This was our game number 4, so I believe there is a redraft. And indeed, we do have a redraft. And next up, Louis, he's back-to-back Ottomans. But this time, up against China.
Going back for the Ottomans, and why not, right? You just had a really great game with them on another open map like this, like Dry Arabia. But of course, CSO now gets his turn with Chinese. So who do you like better in this part of the matchup? Which civ do you prefer on this map?
It's Dry Arabia. I think overall China has all the tools that it needs in order to deal with Ottomans, especially like in I want to say like feudal to early Castle Age. They can make a lot of stuff happen, but just from how we've seen China being played recently or in general, I don't think that it's going to be like a feudal age decide game. I think China is probably just going to go straight for normal Castle Age type play. Which I think, honestly, that's where I see Ottoman kind of favored. Like when it's in a fast castle up against fast castle, that's where I like to see Ottomans in, just because like the passive scaling of the military, and even if your opponent gets like fast castle, gets a couple of knights out, boohoo, just get a couple of janissaries speedily produced inside of your base, and the knights won't be able to do too much. And then we're in the same situation as the game that we were just in. So yeah. I think you got to play it a little bit more messy. I think you got to play it a little bit more aggressive, especially in Feudal Age. You got to make stuff happen. The question is if China in the current meta or with CSO's game plan is going to be able to do that. We're going to have to watch out for CSO's game plan here, because that could dictate like the possibilities, the opportunities that Ottomans have in this game.
Yeah, and with it being match point too, that does kind of affect the psyche going in, right? You're down 3-1. If you lose this game as CSO, it's over. You're out of the tournament, right? And for Louis, you're hoping that you can. If you lose this game, you've got 2 more you could win it in, right? You've got game point for a couple times here, so not as much pressure now that I think winning last game really kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off. And now he just needs to make sure he closes out at least one of the next 3 games. CSO though, just hoping to go the distance now, needs to win every game out here and do the reverse sweep to take it and move on. So I wonder how that'll affect, if that makes him more aggressive, if it makes him more conservative. I feel like depending on the kind of player you want, it might make a kind of player you are, it might alter what your game plan would be going in. But we've got just 2 minutes here and we'll be diving in. You guys are watching. This is the Elite Classic 3. We're in the semifinals right now. Been a fun couple games so far, huh?
It has. It definitely hasn't been like a, I want to say, like a 100% concrete favorite here between these two. Like every single game could have gone both ways so far. Yeah. I want to say, like they've been really back and forth between each other. No real stomps here at all, which is what I'm very, very happy for. And after this one, we're also going to be getting another great set. So don't go anywhere, because after this set, we still got Beastie versus Marine Lord ahead of us.
Yeah, that's like the classic of classics, right? That'll be a fun series.
Yeah, but it's in the semis this time around.
I
know. It's interesting because, yeah, like these two also had like a lot of clashes so far this year, and it's pretty even at the moment between them, where historically it's been kind of one-sided, but I think Beastie at the moment, he's been taking all the correct boxes when it comes to his strategies.
He's been looking really good, especially in this tournament, and of late, he's just been looking really, really competitive. So whoever wins this series, of course, gets the benefit to play either Beastie or Marine Lord in the next series in the finals, which will be tomorrow, huh? So
I mean, we got third place set tomorrow, and then the grand final. So yeah, I mean, we've had so many games once again during this tournament series, like the Elite Classic 3, and man, like this is why this is also like one of the favorite tourneys for players to play. It's such like, it lives up to the name, classic. These are like classic maps, classic sets. No like
No gimmicks.
full water maps, no gimmicks or something like that. Though I want to say I do like my gimmicks. I think like we had some very very fun gimmick tournaments before, of like double villager starts and no keeps, no stone walls rules enforced and stuff like that. Those are also very fun, but nothing beats the classic, and that's why we're here. Next up, we're going to be going into our game number 5. Now coming up, we got CSO playing as the Chinese in the color green up against loueMT in the color pink as the Ottomans. Speaking of classic, there's a classic map, Dry Arabia, here for you guys.
This should be a fun one here as we are on to a match point for Louis. It's 3-1 here in this game. Classic map, too. It's always fun to end up on a Dry Arabia.
And not to forget, like this time around, we do have that the interesting, the spicy meta with the deer luring. So Louis with the Ottomans, is he gonna go for the deer lure? Is he gonna go for the aggressive play, or is he gonna go for both? Like last time around, we had a little bit of everything. We had the spearmen inside of CsO's base and the spearmen trying to lure the deer.
It's been fun to see the prevalence of the post pro scouts meta. I mean, we're still kind of in a pro scouts meta, but not as much as it was. Seeing more spears being pro spears, getting their venison in instead.
Yeah, intermediate scout meta.
Intermediate scout meta. I like having a little bit of pro scouts in the meta, just a little bit. I'm glad we've toned it back from where we were.
I like that CSO opened up with an Imperial official here. So even if Louis goes for like the spearmen now and starts to rest the gold, CSO can still rely on taxable income.
Yeah, China is really hard to deal with in terms of denying gold.
I don't even think you gotta go for pro scouts here, honestly. Like, I think just from how these matches have played out so far, just play to not your strength, but to your opponent's weakness, which is feudal age.
Spear gets onto the gold here, takes a stab. Villager getting a little wounded there. And I've gone back and forth on both those vills. That one now half health, runs back to home. Second one as
looks
well.
like we are gonna have to like just go for the tax. Go for the tax play.
Yeah.
CSO can definitely do. Like, he's not relying on that gold vein.
No, it might delay him just a little bit, but not by
what's
much.
with the scout? What's with the scout for CSO? Okay, he's fine. Okay, for a second I thought it was another spearman there, but CSO can also use his time right now to lame the deer if he wants to. Already got 10 sheep.
Just run past.
I think he just wants to get the corner, maybe see if there's some sheep left there. I think he really will want to just go back and kill those deer off. Does he?
That'd probably be a good idea. See Louis
He's gone back.
Using his scout to not be a professional scout, a semi-pro scout, amateur scout.
Gonna have the spearman help him out as well. We're seeing the Trim Minaret Madras come in, Imperial Academy. Yeah, I'm really wondering like what the game plan is gonna be here.
Yeah, it's hard to say right now. There's not a lot to see on their builds to tell us one way or another what their thought is. Villager, you gonna get that repaired just in time? Looks like it. Loses a little bit of wood for the repair. Yeah, those spears now are just wasting their time trying to torch that down. Sheep coming in for CSO. And the age up is complete.
Repair comes soon. Yep. You see gunfire there as well. What's the reaction now going to be from CSO? I mean, obviously you got to get an archer range out, just get like 1 or 2 archers out to deal with the spearmen. What's the follow-up going to be? I'm really confused that he didn't just kill those deer. Would have saved him a lot of trouble overall.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to play up against an Ottoman player that didn't need to invest into Pro Scout, but has like an additional 2,500 food inside of their base, which they kind of get anyway with Anatolian Hills. They also get like additional 2,000 food there. You don't want to make it 5,000.
Yeah. Safe food for that long makes the calculus of what you do and when a lot easier. There we go. Now he's going to go back and try and lame the deer a little bit and kill them off. Not let them be just pushed all the way in. Better late than never.
Also killing a couple of the deer there, but they're not too
Returning the
far
favor.
apart from each other.
Barracks being dropped
coming in
down.
as well. Yeah. Let's see what this is going to play out to. I mean, looking at the gold veins as well for Louis, they're all pretty far forward. Something that CSO could 100% do here is just get a couple of infantry units out there, pull 5-6 villagers out, and go for Barbican in front of Louis' base.
Ooh, that'd be aggressive. That'd be kind of fun to see.
Yeah, and then just
Yeah, you're
go
right.
to
All that
Master
gold is
Voodoo from there
forward.
on out.
Yeah, the only other gold, he'd have those 2 gold veins right there, and then the one in the western corner would be all he would have. Three on stone.
Just enough for another military
for
school.
another military
which is coming
school,
in now. Yeah.
This is kind of similar to what Louis did last time, right? You know, making those military schools in feudal age pretty early on.
But it looks like CSO is still going to go for the Pro Scout play. Honestly, I'm not a fan. I don't think you want to prolong this game for too long. Or even, like, go for Castle Age at all. I think you got to play this out in Feudal Age.
Yeah, I feel like
Okay, I hope we don't see a repeat of what we had last game. 'Cause I'm not sure how it is for you, but I'm frustrated whenever I see Ottomans in Imperial Age.
it's just a kind of an auto win in the end, isn't it?
An auto win.
Auto
yeah.
win, if you will. Yeah. I'm full of those bad puns today. Archer's moving up now, trying to take some hits. We see the tower on the gold, so
outpost.
Louis is looking to hold that on if he can, but that might be denied here. Archers and spears coming on in.
Yeah, there we go. Gets denied there. And that's important, because that outpost is a gateway drug to Castle Age.
Yeah, and with that not there anymore, suddenly that Barbican idea becomes viable again that you were mentioning. And if CSO can keep the pressure up, but
we just spent 500 resources on Pro Scouts.
oh, that's true.
That could have been a Barbican.
Could have been a Barbican, and then that'd be way more entertaining, right?
Yeah. It could have been a Barbican. There's a boar kind of close to the golds there as well.
Instead, in the line of bad puns, instead CSO opts to barbecue the deer instead.
Yeah. Maybe. Not confirmed yet.
As in he wants to eat just the deer. The barbecue, not barbican.
What's the game plan now going to be? Okay, so Louis also assigned to add in his own archers. He's starting to mass up units. It's going to take a while since he did invest into double military school. So it's kind of like even when it comes to the investment, military school compared to Pro Scout. Almost even because you still have to invest into the scouts and the stable. I guess he just wants to like mass up the units, and once he has enough, he's going to push out again and get Castle Age after that. I don't think... Like, just looking at it, I don't think Louis is ever gonna just hunker down in Feudal Age as Ottomans.
Yeah, it feels like he'd like to get up if he could.
CSO still just wandering around with his army there at the front side.
Yeah, it feels like they're kind of both just kind of wondering what they're doing here. Just kind of taking
we're
it
getting
slow.
siege engineering in.
Ooh, now that's spicy.
Okay, so CSO, is he going for like the long Feudal Age? I want that to be the case, because I think that's the best way to play this matchup.
I mean, it would work right now because Louis has no gold income whatsoever.
Maybe now
Yeah, you see,
go
he's
for
he's
Barbican
desperate
here?
to go in for it.
Like a forward Barbican, I'd be so in for that. I'd pay money for that.
Spears, meanwhile, pushing them
He's like-
back.
Got resource for Barbican. I think he's going... Why did he get siege engineering? He's not...
He doesn't.
Okay, I'm confused.
I mean, if he's gonna go for like a mass ram
Did
push,
he cancel it?
it just feels maybe.
No, he
No,
did get
he got it. It came through.
Did
So he's
get it? And
Ram
now he's
Ranch is
going
on the menu.
Yeah, he got siege engineering, and now he's going for Castle Age. I don't think he's going to utilize it
than
then.
ideal. But I gotta wonder, like, why go for it then if you're not gonna use it?
Yeah, now Louis, he got the outpost up, so now he is going to start getting into that Castle Age play sooner or later.
This feels like a
CSO
misplay
kind of
from
missing
CSO.
the timing.
Yeah, I feel like this is a kind of a misplay. Like he
It
Went
might
pro
be. I feel like
scouts
he had
into
the,
siege engineering into a fast castle build. Just feels very
I feel
awkward.
like he had the glimpse of a right idea, and now he's just straying from that. No, here's the play. You get like 5 knights out in Castle Age, and then you Barbican drop, and then you go into the ram play. Surely.
Delayed barbecue ram ranch. Gotcha. Sabahi running around, just keeping those
Tech
spears
ram.
and archers busy.
I mean, now that he's
Clock
getting
tower
the
coming
astronomical
in.
clock tower, he can just make the rams from the landmark.
Yeah, so then why even go for siege engineering? It just
Doesn't
it
make
makes
a
no
ton of
sense. You delayed
Yeah,
your age up by about a minute almost.
Now, we're gonna have to see how exactly it's gonna play out, but now Louis is very close behind him with this age up, and the timing's kind of closing in now. I guess he kind of thought, okay, maybe he could go for a chaotic play, but then must have seen something that made him not go for it. But now Mehmet Imperial Armory is gonna be on the way. We're entering into a phase where I'm worried. Like, the longer the game goes, we've seen it last time around, the longer the game goes, the better it gets for Ottomans.
Yeah, especially when those gold veins get dried up and you have to move out to the center of the map. Ottomans with the passive units being produced, it just gets better and better for them as time goes on. I mean, China has a pretty good late game economy, but gosh, do you really want to have to go against great bombards again?
I wouldn't want to. That sounds like a
I
not
wouldn't
fun
want to,
way
yeah,
to play
no.
the game.
I certainly wouldn't want to. I like this play from Louis with the Spahi just guarding those relics. If he could secure those for himself as well, that'd go a long way.
I'd rather fall and stub my toe. All right, age up now coming
I'd rather
in.
step on a Lego.
First knight out, but Sapai, they do decent damage even against knights. 4 armor, 12 damage, 8 makes it through. Small troop now walking forward. Do we get any archer upgrades in? None yet on the way. Does have a decent amount of archers. Knight archer is always a decent army composition.
Hard to go wrong with that, yeah. Mobility and the range together works out really well.
And Louis actually abandoning the outpost here.
That's an odd choice.
He doesn't have enough, I want to say, for any veterancy upgrades other than Sapahi. And again, Sapahi do...
Is that all? That might be all he needs.
Pretty good. Yeah, it might be everything he needs. Double Imam play again, so he's going to go out for the relics now behind this. Sapahi are just running through the middle, trying to catch off reinforcements, which they will probably be able to do.
Meanwhile, though, reinforcements for the front line. CSO has a bunch of lancers coming up. The tower goes down. The gold has been pretty much denied from Louis. He does have gold coming in from some other resource.
Veterancy in now on the archers. This is the moment in time for CsOH to raid the wood line. Doesn't have a scout there to give him the information that he needs. Just gonna go around it.
With that. He'd be able to see and shoot them. Meanwhile, Vils get pulled and head back to base. So clearly, Louis able to see something over there.
Yeah. He's gotten enough gold in, either through a market or some way, in order to also upgrade the archers now. So Louis is gonna get vetted archers in.
Is that how he got that gold? Maybe a market? Because he's not on any gold veins that I can see on the map.
That's why I'm thinking like there should probably be a market. Sapahi raid killing 3 villagers. That's pretty big at this point in time.
Meanwhile, Lancer's looking at the base of Louis as well, looking to get some hits if they can. He's going to be met with archers, Sapahi, and spears, as well as a springle behind that.
Yeah, he's taking down the spearmen. And now the knights can pounce.
Seems like a good chance to move in. Archer's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good there for CSO.
Sapahi numbers thinning out.
Like half the military count.
And reinforcements coming in. More Lancers come in to reinforce the front lines.
It's looking good.
They're into the base.
Yeah, he's in. 69.
Emergency wall.
Don't risk it. Do not risk it. It's not worth it. Okay, it's worth it.
He's alive.
This might be it.
Villagers
no
now.
Food left here.
Military's not at home. Spahi are trying to run back to reinforce, but it might be too late.
I didn't expect it, but yeah, he found the timing. Checkmate. The Sapai were out of position. They're only just now coming back. Are they going to be enough? There are already so many villagers going down. Knights chasing behind the Sapai as well. In the choke point, they can't get onto the archers. Villagers hopping in and out of the TC. But CSO, he's done it. Didn't expect the timing to be so good, but it was, and GG comes in. All right. Okay.
We go to another game.
Go to another game.
The reverse
Nice
sweep
one.
remains on the table. Yeah, CSO making this one a little bit more in reach. It's now 3-2 with a really, really good castle timing push. Man, he could have done a little earlier if he hadn't have gone for the siege engineering, just saying. But good timing regardless to get in there and do maximum damage while Sipahi just weren't at home. Those camel lancers, or not the camel lancers, those lancers, just there was just no answer for him once the spears got picked off.
I'm surprised with the still surprised with the siege engineering. I'm not sure what Louis was overall going for, because I feel like he could have made more units. And maybe just the pure Sipahi, like his own lance or something like that. But this was good. This was good timing there in the end. And like Knight Archers, very solid army composition. In the end, like, we just not having enough units there. Could have gone differently if we had some crossbows in there as well.
Yeah, I think
the timing, like,
I
was very surprised by the army, by the timing attack there overall.
It felt strange to seed that gold vein and go try and raid on your own. You'd think you'd want to secure your gold and maintain, those more expensive units. Maybe get some crossbows in the field, knowing what's probably coming. Because if you're going against Chinese, you're probably going to either have lancers or palace guards. So you're going to need something to deal with those. I kind of wish Louis had held on to that gold vein, kind of giving that up for free. Really cost him there.
Yeah, it was really, really early to give up on that. He did manage to get the relics, and once again, like, looks like he was really trying to go for that late game again, but this time around CSO went for a lot more aggression early on, get that timing in. And this time around, at least, he had archers, and that way, the army composition from earlier with just Sipahi and just spearmen didn't work out.
Yeah, and now we have a series on our hands all of a sudden, 3-2, it's a competitive series. We go on to Lipany. It's going to be Zushi for Louis, and this time for CSO, bringing in the Ayyubids. I'm pretty excited about that pick, to be honest. Although, as an Ayyubids player, I loathe going against Zushi because they have a penchant for, if there's ever time to ram ranch someone, Ayyubids could, especially if they go for like a fast castle play, could be one that could be vulnerable to that. Because Desert Raiders just obviously don't hold a candle to Zuganu in mass. So there's a feudal window there if you want to play aggressive as Louis, but also if he just goes for a quick castle, they can play it out in Castle Age as well. So fun matchup and Lipany, a great choice for Ayyubids. Of course, lots of food on the map in general, so also good for Zushi. Who do you prefer here?
Honestly, it's really back and forth. I think both players are just going to go for a fast castle, one with pro scouts, one without. The question is, how easily can Zushi get the fast castle in? And with Dali horses, their knights can somewhat take fights up against the camel lancers. I think Zushi might be a little bit less sustainable than Ayyubids, but we're gonna see as we're now jumping into our game number 6 in a best of 7. CSO playing as the Ayyubids, Louis playing as Jushi's Legacy here on EGC Lipany. This isn't your everyday Lipany. This is a special Lipany map created for EGC. It's a little bit less chaotic, a little bit more reasonable in its spawns.
Yeah, a little more regular in its spawning and its seeding. As we dive in here, man, this series with an option to go the distance if CSO can win this one and continue on to a game 7. Meanwhile, Louis, last game, almost like a throwaway game. I think maybe hoping to clean it up. This one right here is what he's hoping for now as we dive in. Of course, this map does have a lot more food than most maps would.
Yeah, a lot of berries here, especially good for a civilization like Ayyubids that does get the bonus with the berries.
I'm curious to see what we're going to get from both these players, because there's like a window where you could try an all-in play, but I don't know if it's worth it. I don't feel like you'd do that here. Maybe on the ladder you'd try that, but in a tournament game,
the issue is
like both want to go castle.
There's a lot of distance between players, so you gotta walk quite a bit in order to get over there, and especially for a civilization that has very slow-moving units like Jushi's Legacy, if you opt to go for Mass Jiganu, you're gonna be walking for a while.
Yeah, and with the gold to the side there, easy to defend, it looks like. Not worth it. I imagine both players will go, kind of like you said, both go into castle. I expect Zushi to pro scouts. You can't discount what Ayyubids could do to deny that, right? Depending on what wing he goes, I'm curious what wing he picks. If he goes, because he can do a couple things, right? He can go military wing, get the free Desert Raiders. You could also go for the Dervish wing kind of early on.
I think it's going to be Dervish wing into 1 or 2 Desert Raiders, try and harass pro scouts, go fast castle behind that. That's what I would expect.
Yeah, you get so much value. That wing I love because
It's the
the
default
value
play.
you get
Yeah,
out
there
of
we
it.
go.
Yep, logistics wing. Sure enough, going for the 2 dervishes. And the nice thing is when you get into Castle Age yourself, you've already got the 2 ready to go pick up some relics. But the thing I love about this wing the most is that some wings give you like a set amount of value, right? Whereas logistics wings with the dervishes,
Infinite
you can choose. Yeah, you can get infinity as far as what value you want to get. It comes completely down onto how much you utilize those 2 dervishes and how much value you can get out of them, which I like. It kind of comes down to the skill of the player.
Take down. Yeah, sniping a dervish is really, really hard to do because they're fast. They're mounted, obviously. They get camel on knees, and they heal themselves while moving. They don't need to stand still. They don't got time for that.
Yeah, dervish, of course, get the camel and ease as well. They're also, because they're on camels, they're a lot faster. Oh, I always love when you can get a sheep like that. You can just see it and say, hey, up here, and he just kind of runs all the way around. Very satisfying to watch.
Sheep.
They never run faster than when they're doing that,
Hmm. They do got that fast movement speed there whenever they run.
Bit of a sad meditation gardens, given this map.
There's a stone there, but yeah, it's sometimes you can get like really, really strong spawns with meditation gardens on Lipany when like multiple berries spawn next to each other. This one's fairly tame. Like this one would have been
pretty great.
Good.
Yeah.
It's a lot
showing us where a perfect one would be. Even in that south corner there, or the west corner, there's the stone berries wood. Maybe you could find an angle there, but maybe something over there would have been. It's kind of far away. Maybe though.
It's a small berries.
Yeah. Tough. Not a lot of perfect spots nearby.
Maybe better to just have it safe in the base sometimes. It's not.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just not worth the walking time for the villagers, the bonus walking time. Looks like we are just going to get a default Pro Scout gameplay here from Zushi's Legacy. So there we go. Pro Scout's coming in. At the same time, age up now in for CSO with the Ayyubids. Dervishes come out. And dervishes like to lure deer.
Pro dervishes?
Yeah, dervishes like to lure deer as well. But it looks like Louis spots that out. Potentially.
Maybe he's just going to let it be. So we do have a production building that just got built down. I didn't see. I would assume it's either the archery range or the stable. Yep, stable. Yep. So you want Desert Raiders. And honestly, the stable feels better in my opinion.
Yeah, it's 100% better just because in Ayyubids is inherently a Castle Age civilization from what they want to achieve in the game with Camel Lancers and like veterancy, like mass Camel Lancers, mass veterancy archers. That's like one of their favorite army compositions to go for. There we go. Louis is now going to lame the deer from CSO. He won't be able to lure those in anytime soon. Never mind. He's not laming them. He's just... Maybe he is. Yeah, never mind.
Just a little bit.
And now he's killing them quicker as well with Pro Scout. Only needs 1 attack. Oh, instead...
It's too bad that dervishes can't heal the deer.
Oh, yeah. Too bad. Too bad. Man, would have loved to give... Yeah. Oh, man. Second stable now. We're actually seeing some horsemen coming in as well.
Double broadaxe coming in for Louis.
Yeah, first couple of deer already coming in through. We're seeing some Jugunu coming in. Jugunu at least are a good bit better against the Desert Raider compared to normal archers, because normal archers don't do bonus damage, Jugunu don't do bonus damage as well, but at least their base damage is higher up against units without armor.
Yeah, they are kind of a thorn in the side for Desert Raiders. That's why we see the Horsemen coming out for CSO as well. Now, 2 Jugunu with 1 Desert Raider with 2 Dervishes behind it. I'm not sure that the Jugunu win that.
Yeah, Dervish is just a
Dervishes carry.
Very special unit. Yeah, Dervishes have a very special place in my heart of contempt.
Of contempt. See, I'm the Ayyubids guy who just loves them. I think they're such an easy, fun unit to use. Almost too good. I'll admit they almost are too good. When you get a couple of them, they're so good. But you know, Jackie, when most every civ has something that seems too good, does anyone have anything that's too good, right?
In this situation, yes.
in this situation,
Oh,
I
man.
suppose.
Those situations where you're there with like 5 horsemen chasing after one dervish and it's just giving you the roundabout, or you're trying to be like, okay, can't kill a dervish, I'm going on to the desert rare, and then the desert rare starts giving you the roundabout while getting healed, and it's like, oh my god, just let me kill a unit, please.
I love that we live in a game state where there's so many different things that feel just so overpowered like that it's hard to point at just one overarching one that is just purely too good. Like there's you pick any civ and there's usually at least one mechanic that's gonna make someone pull their hair out.
I got 5 fingers per hand. I can point at 5 things at the same time.
Well, we see that deer pack pretty well denied as far as gathering for Louis. However, he's got other deers he can go grab as well. Yeah. Nice, interesting wall choice here for CSO walling, trying to wall this stuff in and keep it so he can't go in.
Yeah, making sure he's not losing his own deer. So that's very nice for him. He's gonna see the army now, knows that, okay, spearmen, they're gonna be a little bit more spicy. Just needs to make sure that he doesn't lose a unit. Any unit that's not lost is full HP in a little bit.
Yeah, I hope they never change that because I love using it.
That. Please just stop making them heal themselves while walking. That's all I ask for.
Relics are just easy to pick up.
Yeah, they're so quick. Like, they get 1.22 tiles per second of movement speed while carrying a relic. Like, normal infantry cannot catch up to them. It's wild.
Well, and even when you don't go for the logistics wing, without the passive ability, you can still toggle the ability for a couple seconds as well, and it's like just an ability, and I feel like it's underutilized when people don't go for that.
100%. Some people, I mean, most times people just forget.
It's so good.
Oh
too.
wait, I can do that. Yeah.
If you go for a different build, you can still use that ability with dervishes to an extent. You see Juganu trying to scare off. They're still fighting over these couple deer. You got to wonder how much value has been had out of this. Now CSO, meanwhile, should be able to click up an age.
The Juganu, they were able to like slap one of those dervishes. Now we're seeing the age up coming in, economic ring growth. But yeah, losing a dervish early on here before castle age means that...
He might lose another.
No.
Flirting with death.
Yeah, very much so.
Very close.
Louis is kind. He's gonna give him like the little tap there on the shoulder, like, huh, this could have been a dead dervish.
Go tell your friends, is what they're saying. That was close. Yeah, losing one though. That's a cool thing about that landmark though, right? About that choice is you can get like infinite value out of it, but you could lose those two in a blink of an eye, and then if you fumble the bag, you lose all value out of it. And I love that slight risk to it.
Yeah, there is a slight risk. Sometimes you just don't pay attention. I like how CISO is still distracting or still denying pro scouts here to an extent. Means that Louis has to very much pay attention to that.
Oh, here we go again.
Little... okay. This time it wasn't. This time, there we go. We like to scare you sometimes as well. Huh? Game's paused.
Pause in the game.
Pause in the game. Back in the game.
All right. Just hoping that Cow and Vodka's respective internet providers can continue to give us this good content for us.
Up in the air.
Up in the air, yep.
Maybe. We're still seeing everything, so I don't think...
we can still see things, so we're still in this.
We're still in this. Yeah, who knows at this? That's right.
3 archery range coming up for CSO. Are you using that for crossbows? Are you using that for more desert raiders?
Using it for archers. The main idea is that the best army composition for Ayyubids is similar to what we saw last game, just mass knights, or in this case, camel lancers and archers. All right, maybe we're back in it. It's a little bit choppy at times, but I think we're getting there. Nope. Yep.
Today's broadcast is being brought to you in 12 frames a second. Horseman going down. Ooh, big pickup there from Louis.
Yeah,
we're getting to see it in slow freeze frame motion as horse after horse goes down.
Bishop now in. CSO, he managed to bunker up a good amount of gold, so is going to be able to get a good amount of camel lances in early on. First archer came out, immediately got to say goodbye. Yeah, this is some odd lag. Like lag in a replay, that's That's something that you don't really see every day, especially since the stream's still up. So yeah, it's
interesting. Maybe it's just they're on the Korean servers or something.
That could be. It could be a game issue at the moment.
Still strange.
Yeah. It's 44 military at the moment.
This is where it gets really scary as a Ayyubid, is when
and an age up behind
Zushi
us as well.
Stays. Wow.
Oh, this is so
I don't feel like CsOH's got enough behind this.
Yeah. I'm also not sure what happened to the economy, because CsO, he went up with economic wing growth, and he's only up by 3 economy units. I think maybe...
Did he lose some of that
could
raid?
be external issues.
No, there's only one.
No,
there's only one.
Yeah, but
killed,
that's
so yeah.
a villager that CsO killed. So Louis didn't kill any villagers, yet CsO is
just
not ahead as many as he
time?
should be. Yeah, must have been.
This is where it gets really... This is where Zushi gets super duper scary, and I'm amazed he was able to get the age up behind this.
Yeah. Cheaper age up, lots of units, pro scout economy.
I mean, we can't discount... I mean, I guess... I'm trying to think of the disparity. If there's only one Vil kill, it's either idle time or maybe we're missing the Imperial officials for Zushi.
But Imperial officials, they get created from the TC for Zushi. They don't make them from a landmark, so that doesn't matter. They get the one. That
explains one. Explains one, then.
They get one, but they also get one less villager at the start. So
that's true.
That's completely... Yeah, you can completely discredit that. There must have been
because it's not Chinese with the landmark, so it's different. Yeah, I'm thinking China.
Yeah, I think maybe there's some server lag going on, or internet service providers have been all over the place for multiple people here in the production team today as well.
For me. Somehow.
Yeah, you're
Somehow. I don't know how. I think I was having some weird mic stuff earlier, but you know, the glory of having an international tournament organized, being live streamed for the whole world to see. But we can still see Louis breaking through the base here as a couple buildings go down.
It's very difficult at the moment for CsO to find his pacing here.
Yeah,
doesn't have the economy advantage that he should have had now.
It sucks when you play a tempo civ and you don't end up with the tempo. It leaves you in a really tough spot.
At least he got a first relic in so far. Something to take note of, Louis, he went for the Mount Lu Academy. So he's getting some bonus food for taxes and some unique upgrades that make his Imperial officials a lot better. But he is starting to add up the mass now in the archer department. Archers are really bad in Feudal Age up against Jugunu, but they become a lot better in Castle Age.
Ooh, this could be a good point. I'm gonna say if those archers ever get caught out by the horsemen and the camel lancers, it could be a good pickup for CsO. He's looking for a good opportunity here, but just not. Yeah. Those spears make it tough. You almost kind of wish. I almost kind of wish CsO had gone into men-at-arms. They're slow, but the Ghulams could really tear through this.
Just like have a couple of them, because with all the bonus HP, they're also really good against the Jugunu. Because HP is like the best factor to have up against Jugunu.
That's usually I'm not nearly at these guys' level, but that's usually my unit of choice, is to mix in some of those men-at-arms, those Ghulams, if you can, against this kind of a push. But of course, it's difficult because Zushi currently is also in Castle Age. This is not like a feudal all-in. He can make and respond with his own crossbows if he needs to. Another ram getting built, this time siege engineering actually being put to use.
See, so he managed to get 2 relics in with that one single dervish that he had out there.
Another building set on fire, the stable.
Oh, he's going for underneath the TC. Villagers running back. He's going to lose some. That's one.
This is tough.
But now this is a fight suddenly that Louis might not want to take. He's going to lose some units here now.
Yeah, the TC fire can't be understated. Definitely helping bolster the numbers of CsO right now, despite 12 idle.
I'm coming around. Doesn't have that many camel lances anymore. Mostly just horsemen now. Some raids here, horsemen, but they are kind of weak. Are just getting killed by the villagers there now.
Loses 1 for 2 there. Villagers take care of the 2 horsemen, shank them to death. You know, CsO was in a scary spot, but he's kind of holding steady, and that's kind of what he needs to do right now. Ideally, he'd get those 2 relics in and or he can try and stop those relics from getting in for Louis. Unfortunately for CSO, it's going to be a 3-1 split otherwise. But you're surviving, and you've got a lot of food in the bank. He's got 1,500. He can age up again. I mean, he could have aged up to castle twice at this point now. He's got 1,700 food and 700 gold. He just needs to invest it into something. But I think his production being kind of hampered with the ram torching things down, he's kind of bottlenecked his production. Unless he's saving for something? But what could he possibly be saving for?
That's the question. I mean, there is something you can always save for. Reinforcement Wing and Imperial Age with Ayyubids. You get a ton of units in. And that is something that CSO really likes to do. Because never forget, like, ranged cavalry, ranged cav units benefit from so many technologies in Imperial Age. You get elite, then you get biology, you get incendiary arrows, you get silk bowstring, you get a ton of additional upgrades from just Ayyubids, like infantry support. Then you get the Golden Age upgrade on them as well for bonus attack speed.
Master Smiths. Yep.
Wait, Master Smiths?
I was going to say, it's going to be either, you know, the Desert Raiders or maybe Master Smiths. He's going to go for the Master Smiths. You don't see this too terribly often.
Master Smiths? In this economy? Huh? Nah, that...
He's going to need to get the rest of those blacksmith upgrades going if he wants to get the value out of it, though.
No, Master Smiths is... That's weird. That is weird.
It definitely is odd. I was not expecting to see this. Again, he's not going to get the value out of it until he gets the blacksmith upgrades up to Castle Age to get those free ones.
I remember there was a change to that. I think it now also gives the previous ones. I'm not 100% sure. I just remember there was something in the I never get this upgrade, which is why I never read the patch notes about it, because I'm like, okay, no matter what, I'm probably not going to get it. But he has so many archers, so he is going to get value out of it.
So it says the other ages must still be researched to get that. He's only got... He's got the ranged one he'll get for free.
Okay, maybe. I mean, looking at the...
Interesting.
This is a big maybe. This is a big maybe. If he's able to clear the army with that, then... Okay, it's pretty good. And he's getting Ghoulems in it as well. He's immediately going to have, like, the maximum Pierce armor upgrade there. I'll say that this is very weird.
I'm excited to see how it goes.
H-up wing is... Yeah,
it's
100%.
Coming at a tough time, though, because it's 80 to 58 military... And Louis is moving out on the map towards him. And you can't rush it up because it's just through the House of Wisdom. So this could be really scary timing for CSO. He needs to make sure he's producing enough. He's going to have 45 archers. Pretty good number, but there's also about equal number of Jukunu. And some Grenadiers now in the queue for Louis as well.
And... Grenadiers, I mean, they do give the nice little bonus damage. We are just now seeing the bonus upgrade coming in for the Jugunu, so I get bonus range and bonus damage up against light melee infantry units. Alright, Age Up has come in. We're also about to see Golden Age level 3. We're getting Elite on the archers right now behind us as well. First couple of melee blacksmith upgrades following up. I'm still torn on this. Villagers on the woodline are going to have to evacuate.
If it works, we'll say it's brilliant. If it doesn't, we're going to say, yeah, we called it.
Louis
pushing in. Louis pushing in. I mean...
the villagers here and there getting sniped out.
That elite upgrade is taking its time. Another, like, couple...
It is.
30 seconds or so for it to get in. But meanwhile, Louis is in the base.
Even with the faster upgrades for the Ayyubids with the Golden Age. But it's going to be coming in just a tiny little bit.
There it goes. There we go. And now they're elite. This should help him hold here.
I mean, even with the TC fire, yeah, this is enough. He's cleaning up the army. Louis, I think he was just a little bit too gung-ho here.
A little bit. That elite upgrade really makes the difference, I think, where it makes it from a probably wins to easily wins. And the Ghulams, like we said, doesn't have to tank the damage up front. Chasing him all the way back suddenly.
Doesn't have the Sultan's Mameluke bravery. I'm not sure what it's called. Sultan's bravery, something like that. Mameluke upgrade. Gives bonus damage and movement speed after killing a unit. That would have been awesome there. Just to catch up to the
units.
Close
the gap. Yeah, that's a good one. That's overlooked a lot of times as a Ayyubid.
Spread out on the units. He's actually clearing everything up. And look at Louis' economy. He does not have what it takes to remass or transition into Imperial Age from this point on. And now CSO, as the Ayyubids, he can just make siege follow-up. on the
And
field.
then STB's trying to get a shot in, but it's a nice
crazy.
micro for the archers to be spread out. And second STB's coming in. That could definitely help support. The horsemen still haven't quite gotten onto it, but the other units that are guarding it are all just about dead. The horsemen have free range.
Crazy.
And suddenly the siege looking really exposed.
Yeah, Louis just jumping the gun, going in a bit too far. Maybe not just a bit, like he dove that TC. And even though he's economically ahead, like he killed a lot of villagers, he mightn't know about the idle time that CSO had in between. There's a quick farm transition coming up right now. We're catching it live.
That sounds like an
live
emergency.
TV.
Oh crap, I'm out of food. Get me some food now.
Yeah.
You know, Ayyubid is all about tempo. And we're seeing exactly how that can play out.
Oh, we can now be getting manganiques in as well.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities here for CSO, great choice. Yeah, and just like you said, here come the Manganiques. Great unit to have on the field. Decapping the sites. And suddenly it feels like it's CSO's game. And now Louis, if he can get the farms going, but the tempo is very much in favor of CSO at the moment.
I think we might be getting a game 7 potentially. Like if this goes on like this. Louis is remassing on the siege. We're getting more Nest of Bees in.
STB's looking at that little corner, trying to peek out and get a shot off. They do get a pretty good shot on those archers. And if only we had a dervish to heal them right now.
If only.
If only, right?
He's making dervish.
Get those over there, man. That's exactly what he'll need to push into the base. Because you get 2 of those on those archers, and suddenly they become pretty much unkillable. And right now, he's focusing on the
crazy thing now is
sacred sites.
Like because of the tech advantage, even if Louis gets like 10 or let's say 20 palace guards in, they're gonna take a lot more damage from the archers because they do 2 additional damage with all the upgrades that have come in so far. We don't have incendiary arrows yet. At the same time, palace guards also have less armor, so damage they take is actually gonna be quite significant.
Top rope,
good shot from the Manganiques.
Some rocks. Manganique's getting a good shot. Takes some damage though. Yeah, villagers coming up to
he's gonna have to heal that one up again. Gonna need some more frontline. Camelance is coming in. But Louis is not out yet. He's managed to stabilize his economy. The farms are coming in. He's starting to get food income again.
Yeah, he's had just enough time to kind of hold up a little bit and get things going. Gold might become an issue, however. Because even if he gets the gold to age up, what's he going to do after that? And that's the tricky part, right? Is if he gets stuck in Castle Age just shy of being able to get enough gold, he does have the taxes, so he will be able to get up there eventually, but long term, he might not be able to buy all the upgrades if CSO has the map control.
That's the point, right? That's a lot of villagers CSO just brought forward. Not sure where he's going to go with that. There's still a large gold vein that he could be going on. But yeah, securing to the sacred sites now as well behind this. That's going to be a good amount of passive gold income since he didn't get all the relics.
Military lead very much in favor of CSO right now. That's the other tricky thing. Louis looks like he's had to reinvest into military.
He can't really go for Imperial Age because he doesn't have like a Great Wall Gatehouse or something like that.
Yeah, he really has no avenue to doing that. He needs to win an engagement and kind of hold for longer and work towards it a little slower. These Manganiques are going to prove problematic here because they're going to be able to deal a little bit with pretty much most of what Louis has. The only thing that the Manganiques aren't going to be great against is the Palace Guards. Yeah, against the buildings and against the Nest of Bees.
Whenever Louis doesn't take any straight-up engagements, the Manganiques can just start taking down buildings with the flaming shots. I'm not sure if CsOH wants to wait for incendiaries because once he gets incendiaries in, then his units are going to be exceptional at dealing with just about anything.
Well, he's going to need to be careful because Louis is
going
getting
full reinvestment.
Yeah, Louis is getting, I think he added a second town center in there, and so now the villager lead is starting to tick in his favor. He's going to start trying to outscale Eco, which is a good choice, right? Because if you can't make it up the tech up, you got to at least get some kind of advantage. So now on 2 town centers, trying to make up the difference here. But looks like CsO is kind of remassing and moving over as well.
Yeah, he's stretching Louis across the walls, showing up here and there. Some villagers moved out onto the gold. CsO doesn't have anything out there, so he doesn't know. Some quick walls here. The Desert Raid, Camel Lancers aren't going to be able to get in.
That nest of bees is not going to be enough to deal with those. One of those manganiques just gets splintered by, it looks like a shot from the nest of bees.
Yeah. Same. Nest of bees over here also
yeah.
going to get split apart.
Returns the favor quickly. Oh man, those vills in the food are just open. He wants the vills in the stone, but those lancers just move right on over. There was a window there.
He doesn't know about the farms over there.
He doesn't see them. He doesn't see them.
Some raids over here on the left side as well.
Look at Louis' food count right now.
We're getting the elite upgrade on the desert lances now, I believe that is. Or is it the golems?
It looks like, I think it's hard to tell.
It's the camel lancers.
Camel lancers, okay.
Villagers?
Oh,
Oh my god, those... yeah, you gotta pull the
where's
dervish
the dervish?
now. The
Yeah,
dervish
where's
would
the dervish?
actually be... Yeah, where's the cambulance?
The ambulance.
Somebody called the cambulance car.
Seriously, where are they, man? He
That's
needs
a
to get those
lot of
on there.
feeling
Like
to-
those, getting those
think
in
it
the
was
front line would be
just-
huge.
I think they're still on the sacred sides.
Yeah, forgetting those is losing out on a lot of value. I really wish he'd pull those
You gotta
out.
have them there in the fight.
It would make such a difference. It doesn't even have all the
He's
sacred
actually
sites
able
either.
to age up.
Louis managed. He got on that gold though. He secured that gold, and so now
military-wise,
he's got
he's
enough.
fine now. And both the sons coming in.
It feels like CSO kind of let the tempo slip away, and now he's just kind of like a wave against the rocks, just kind of breaking against
Is
the
he
rocks.
gonna find the food transition here with the archers?
I think he
sees the
does.
farms. Finally knows what he should have seen all along.
Oh, there's a lot exposed out here.
That's the heart of the economy. Incendiaris just now in queue. He doesn't want to take a fight until it comes in, especially with this many Nest of Bees. Age Up now comes in at the same time, though. Does he feel forced into taking this fight?
Mango shot on the front line, lands a good shot, but needs to get onto the Jugnu in the back.
Oh, some good shots. Doesn't have the Imperial Age upgrades yet on the Nest of Bees, so maybe this is still a fight that he can take. Yeah, CsOH, I think he can still take that fight.
Yeah, I don't know if I...
Nest of
this
Bees
is
are
a
good
tough one.
shots, though. One more shot from the Mangonel. Should be able to take down two. Get some. The archers feel confident enough now to take the fight, though. Gonna be the question. Still a lot of Shuganu in there as well. Still one Nest of Bees remaining.
A lot of units died on this little patch of grass. Nest of Bees doing a lot
Incendiaris,
of
it
work.
takes forever to come in. It's still not in. I think by the time Incendiaris comes in, there are not going to be that many archers remaining. And there it is. It's in now.
Feels like it's a little
More
bit
damage
late,
coming
though.
in.
Nest of Bees will get destroyed from that.
I mean, if he's able to take down the farms now, the farming economy, that would still be huge. Camel Ants are now in there as well.
That's what he needs. Those spears not going to be enough to stop it.
There's still berries. CsOH still has a ton of food income from the berries on the map because he's got all the map control in now. He can idle out the food economy. That could be checkmate.
I think he found his window here. Just enough archers, got just enough to break through. Villagers running in the corner. Yeah, and the granary transition just has nothing going.
But the reinforcements, that's a lot of palace guards suddenly coming in from the bottom side. Not a lead up. No additional Pierce Arm upgrade, so Incendiary still does a great job here. Also doing a good job of focusing down the crossbows.
Like watching a fight in
Might need
slow
to fall
motion
back for a
almost.
little
with them
bit.
back and forth. That's an
Very
aggressive
much
tower
back and
placement
forth.
by
He wasn't able
CSO.
to. He wasn't able to do much damage to the farming economy. We're falling back now.
Man, I really wish he'd had a dervish there. I'm just going to keep hammering that
would've
back
been-
home.
yeah.
That would have made a big difference to have those two up there. Still hasn't
100%.
gotten them in. Lost one of the sacred sites, but gained another. Meanwhile, the farm position's still very much alive for Louis. Meanwhile, that's his last gold
Go in
vein.
there. Some more hits coming in here and there next to walls.
I'm curious what the follow-up from CSO is going
he's
to be. Gulam's coming in.
I mean,
that
CsOH
can make
has
a
got
difference.
every single upgrade blacksmith-wise at this point in time. Like, his units are very strong. Elite comes in now for the Gulams as well. And there aren't that many crossbows remaining. We go.
Gulam's getting onto
it's
the
open.
villagers.
Overchop.
Overchop has been found, and now there's a door, but going to be quickly met with crossbows, jugnus, and palace guards. However, he's got quite a bit of range mass behind this with the incendiary arrows. Can he do enough? Those Ghulams have a lot of health, but can they get through? More coming in.
They don't
Lancers coming in to help reinforce.
Now in their lead. They don't get stunned from the Spearman Brace. Coming through.
There's a lot here for Louis, though, on all sides. Nowhere to run for
That's some
CSO.
Beautiful army splits there. Runs through the archers, but there's maybe too many spearmen here.
I think Louis. Oh, it's so hard to tell.
It
so
really
many dead
is,
units.
but it's just Jugunu remaining now.
Yeah.
All crossbowmen are dead. Actually, yeah, that's not true. There's more crossbowmen somewhere.
Well, they're not
Just
right
been
where they need to
remade.
be. Just a couple, as now it's archers and camel lancers, and a couple Ghulams still alive, diving into the base, and they get the surround onto the Jugunu.
Pathing not CSO's greatest ally here. I think he needs to fall back once more. So has a lot of gold in the bank. He's not able to push past this infantry blob at the moment. Blob is just too strong.
Those Jugunus really are doing a number. They're just kind of hanging in there.
Yeah, they're just sniping out the archers. No archers, and that's just the brunt of the damage. Yeah, Louis just really hanging in there at the moment.
Well, you started with
There's
like
more and
60
more
some odd
reinforcements coming
military.
in from CSO, but they're just not exactly where they need to be at the moment. We have a second TC behind all of this, though, from CSO, so he's starting to get a little bit of eco-scaling in as well. But Louis is still very far ahead.
Look at the food now. It's CSO's in a really rough spot. I mean, the army numbers were at 60 and 60 or something around there. Now it's down to 25 to 22. And CSO, his food income can't sustain this forever because he was moving out on the map, but all those resources are about to dry up and there's no transition behind it. He's got a lot of wood coming in, but by the time he gets this farm set up, it might be too late. Louis might have held out long enough to bring this one back.
Oh, man.
That second TC working wonders for Louis.
Yeah, at this point in time, like, Louis got the farming economy. He's got the food income. CSO, he has to build all of that up. We're only just now getting silk bowstrings. I feel like that was such an important upgrade to get because Jugunu don't get that.
Yeah, getting the extra
The range advantage is really what he
helped.
needed there.
Because then they wouldn't be able to close the distance because they're already a little bit short on range compared to normal archers.
We're just jumping inside outposts, but at this point in time, outposts don't really... Like, the outpost damage isn't really that frightening.
This feels very much like our Ottomans French game again, where CSO was doing so much damage and seemed to be doing so well. But now, Louis just slowly clawing it back. Not over just yet,
a little bit of a different scenario, but yeah, at this point in time, like,
but similar.
it seems really tough for CSO to come back. And the keep there, about triple ram. He's gonna be able to take that down. No boiling oil here means that the infantry can just stand there. And no, the keep, it's just too late. He puts it right where there's already a keep there. He didn't see. He had no vision there. One outpost here could have helped him so much, but no. Louis, he's got all the gold that he wants down there. And I feel like as soon as CSO sees that, he knows that, okay, maybe I missed my timing here.
I guess great minds think alike, right?
Wait, there was a cannon
no.
shot. Bombard emplacement, right? Or it just, all the villagers gone?
I think they saw that the keep was there and stopped moving because they couldn't build their keep and then just got torn to bits from the cannon fire.
I'm not sure if
Feels bad if
CSO
you're a
noticed
villager.
that, though. He's just gonna figure, why
Probably
did my
not.
keep not go up there? I'll keep on the middle sacred side, but yeah, he's losing control over the sacred sides.
Suddenly, if you look at the military numbers and the eco numbers, Louis is very much ahead here. Now, CSO trying to get in the base and do some damage, but it just feels like he can't break through anymore.
At this point in time, certainly doesn't feel so. Another large gold vein now gets secured with another keep, and CSO, he's running out of opportunities. This is the thing with the Masters Smith, right? Like, it gives you this one-off upgrade boost to your attack advantage, but if you can't make it happen then, it's only going to get worse from there on out, and there we go. Keep us trying to hold villagers
kind of waited
inside.
around. He waited around too long to dive in and was kind of just sitting on the outside of the walls, looking for a way to get in, just kind of sitting there, not doing any real damage, and the tempo slipped away. Because again, Ayyubid's the tempo civ. If you just kind of let the tempo slip away, what do you have behind that? And the answer is not a farm transition, unfortunately, for CSO.
Crossbows, though, are getting taken out here. But Louis can easily remass into the Jugunu. Keep doing good damage, more reinforcements coming in. Yeah, I think that keep is probably gonna go down. Villagers could jump out, go for the repair. Gotta think about it twice though, because with all the units here now, it means that the villagers would also be in harm's way. Yeah, they're gonna have to go for a run. But now with another keep going down, Sacred Sites taken away from him. CSO, the win condition is just not where it needs to be anymore. I feel like Louis
I'm not sure where his win condition is. He's got no military. His eco numbers are falling back. He's essentially just running for the hills, and now I think he's just processing this one. And sure enough, GG's called, and series goes to Louis.
All right, really, really great play there. Oh man, what an exciting series overall. Like looking at the games, every single one was really close. Even this one. We had a really, really good series here, I want to say. 4-2, it could have easily been like a 4-3 for either one of these players, all the way up to 7 games. This last one was just a huge back and forth. Some unseen plays here that we had there with the Masters upgrade.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going back to that. I'm going to go back to that Dervish thing again. There was a moment where he was up in age outside the base and he had some weak units. He'd have put 3 Dervishes on that. I think he could have maybe forced his way through the area effect. That's like it's like the one military advantage that they really get with that, and like the Manjaniques and their ability to swap back and forth. I feel like those two things just weren't quite used to the maximum they could have been. But after a hard-fought series, Louis takes it 4-2. So some good games in there, really. It really felt like most of those games could have swung either way on a couple of critical plays.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we might actually, it's very unusual. I think it might actually be a first here for EGC TV, but we are going to get an interview going with loueMT. We've got a translator here for us today that is going to help us translate for Louis. And yeah, we're going to... It's going to get set up in the background, but that's just something to look forward to. Very excited to have an interview there. We're going to ask Louis some questions, but yeah, overall just really great set. These two players, they've been giving it their all. We've been, yeah, just grinding these sets day in, day out on these weekends, and it's all been accumulating into the series now. And yeah, today there's even more coming. It's great. Like we got still Beastie vs Marine Lord. Luckily, we won't need a translator for the interview over there, but it's also something to look forward to. Like some great sets today.
Louis securing the first of the 2 spots in the final for tomorrow. He'll get the opportunity, as you mentioned, to face either Beastie or Marine Lord. We'll find out who after the next series that's coming up after this. But yeah, in the meantime, Cracky, what was your favorite of these games that we saw today so far in the series?
Yeah, it's very hard to say. I really enjoyed that that last game that we had, just because it was a very unusual play with the Ayyubids. But I think overall, for how frustrated I was with the situation with Ottomans, I enjoyed the Borderland Ottomans versus French game the most, I want to say, just because it was such an insane back and forth, such a one-sided matchup in theory when it comes to the units. And I'm not happy with how it played out in the end, but I'm very happy with how it went in the mid game. I was very excited to see that. Like,
it's always fun to see new strats that you aren't expected, and you kind of scratch your head a little bit. It's even more fun to see them almost work, and it's really fun when they do work. I love seeing something off meta that surprises the world. That's always an exciting thing to see. But yeah, good series, man. It's so many of these series late in these games have gone not quite. This one didn't go the distance, but still 6 games F7 is that's no 4-0 sweep, you know. And I don't really expect to get anything like that next. I don't expect to see a sweep next series either. I expect we'll probably have a similar score, maybe a 4-2 or a 4-3 of some sorts coming up. So we got a lot to look forward to today.
Frankly, man, I mean, we still need a little bit of time to set up for the interview. So in the meantime, let's think about like where these players have come from so far, right? Like I wanna quickly check out their Wikipedia page, see exactly. Yeah, okay, there we go. Never mind. We got the players right here on screen for us. We see the journey that these players have gone through in order to get where they are here. So CsO, he managed to get into the playoffs, but he was last in the group stage in his group to make it through. So he had to start off there at the bottom with Annaton. So he went through Annaton 4-2, then won 4-3 up against B. And if I recall correctly, like he just played against B. I'm not sure if he played in the group stage, but he played in the tournament. I think it could have been KPMM as well up against B. And B absolutely like he won that in a very one-sided manner. This time around though, 4-3, able to push through there, and now up against Louis, he went out like the best out of his group stage into the playoffs, and he went all the way up to a 4-2, like taking 2 games off, and it was really close even then as well. It could have easily been a 4-3 for either player here, and yeah, now he's still in in the match for the 3rd place that's going to be coming tomorrow together with the grand final. An absolutely just insane performance, especially from Louis as well. Like Louis, we've been highlighting time and time again how insanely well he plays at the moment. Like he won the last big LAN in the Garrison in Hamburg, and yeah, just overall his I want to say like coming of age when it comes to the esports scene in Age of Empires 4. He's just been putting in the hours, and it's paid off. It's really paying off for him, which is great to see.
Yeah, both these players have been just amazing. I mean, that B CSO series that went all 7, that was an incredible series to watch. I mean, some just really back and forth, grindy games. Really, really fun to see. I mean, both Louis and CSO have really, I think, cemented themselves as top players in the game, you know? It's really fun to see players like CSO come up and play well, and then Louis as well still. But just, I mean, they're kind of known for being team game players, and now here they are in the Elite Classic 3 doing really well. But I think we've got an interview I'll step aside and let you get to.
All right, let's give it up for Louis. All right, Louis, congratulations on making it through to the grand finals. How are you feeling after this game, after this set? Like, were you expecting CSO to do so well in the tournament overall? Like, we know CSO hasn't been playing too many 1v1s tournament. What do you think about CSO's performance so far?
陆毅，你觉得很高兴认识你啊，我也是你的粉丝，你听得到我说话吗？对，他刚刚问你就是说，他觉得你今天和 CSO 的那个这几场比赛都非常激烈，他觉得 CSO 之前都是就跟你打2v2嘛，不是之前的那场就之前跟你打 tournament， CSO 主要是就是说用重装骑兵的，他比较是就是团体作战的人员。你觉得你对他今天表现怎么样？他们希望你具体的描述一下，我都可以给你翻译啊。然后你觉得他今天表现怎么样？然后大家都觉得 CSO 其实今天跟你打得很激烈。你个人觉得他表现怎么样？你有没有对他期望？觉得他表现像今天这样高？
这是我见过他打的最好的一次，也是我打这个比赛
So practically, I can't really hear Louis saying anything. Is there anything wrong with the translation?
我知道他一直很强。
Should be good now.
我可以继续说吗？
路易，麻烦你再说一点，我刚没有听到你说话。对。
哦，行，现在有了是吧？我知道杨光一直很强。
放路易 on my side, I can't hear him.
他一直玩得很好，但是他没有打很多1-1比赛。这次他发挥在我眼里是正常的，我一直认为他非常强。
Can we get the audio fixed there? I think our translator couldn't hear what Louis said there. All right, we'll try again. One more time.
路易，麻烦你再说一下，第一次我们
再说一遍。
没问题啊，现在我可以听到了，没有问题了。啊，你现在再说一遍，不好意思，抱歉啊。
没事。CsOH 一直在我心里是玩得很好的，他非常强，只是他以前打1-1比赛的经验比较少，这次他来打，算是我认为目前遇到最艰难的对局，非常激烈，非常艰难。
那你觉得他？So he said CSO is always one of those top aggressive players in his heart, even though he had like very less, 1v1 experiences. But I think they practice a lot, so he's always, he always has strong confidence on him. So he saw the match was super competitive. They had great, this kind of, moments today. So, he always has very strong confidence on him. Yeah, even though his 1v1 experience is very limited over there.
Great to hear. Louis, I want to ask you, you've been obviously performing amazingly so far in these tournaments, just incredible performance overall from you recently. How are you feeling overall? Next up, we got a set between Beastie and Marine Lord. Those two are going up against each other. Who do you think, or what's like your expectation of the set, and who are you maybe more afraid of when it comes to facing in the grand finals?
大家觉得你现在就是你的表现是一个 world class， 就说是世界比较顶尖的。然后你也知道，接下来一场比赛是两个也是非常顶尖的选手，对吧？你可以跟他们来说，目前为止算是3大天王，就是野兽吧，还有一个叫野兽和那个深海领主吧，应该是 Marino， 对吧？你觉得他们两个，你比较就是说，你觉得哪一个对你来说就是你比较害怕遇上的？然后你觉得他们两个谁会赢？
我都比较害怕遇上，但是已经到决赛了，没办法了，那就随便吧，哪个都很害怕。我觉得他们俩比较接近5-5开，我也不太清楚，看他们俩谁状态好。
比较接近什么？我刚刚没有听清。
他们俩打的对局，我觉得是5-5开的，非常接近，也是比较期待看的。对。
Okay. So he said he thinks both Marine Lord and Beastie are phenomenal players. So he's afraid of both of them, but he said he will prepare, right, to face any of them. And he gave us a very plain vanilla answer. He said it's 50-50. Beastie and Marine Lord 50-50. It's really hard to tell, he thinks. It just, actually both of them are very similar styles. So that he thinks it's 50-50 over there.
All right, very great insight there. Man, I'm looking forward to it as well. So once again, Louis, thank you so much for these great sets here. I'm going to let you rest now, as I'm sure time zones in China probably are kind of rough on you right about now as well. And big shout out to Dan. Thank you so much for translating for us. And yeah, once again, congratulations, Louis, and we'll see more of you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.